Is that? Oh my god. Oh wait. Very odd. Oh my.
because I've been saying such amazing, amazing things, but we'll deal with the
Okay, we're back. I think. Oh wait.
quick rundown of what we had talked
My
about.
fault, y'all.
Um, it's all good. Everybody blame PB. It's not my fault. Um, so yeah, so I think let's just start over with the draft because that's kind of what we didn't get to talk through. What stood out to me, I'll kind of give something that stood out to me on each side of the draft, and then maybe you can as well. To me, what stood out for One Thief is the fact that Sarveris got the Syndra. That's a champion that has been banned against Sarveris very, very often. It's a champion that, he was the MVP last season. Let's not forget Sarveris was, and in large part due to his performance on that champion. I mean, he's just a very good Syndra player. Um, QC decided they're going to go with this counter pick of Yasuo plus Nautilus, and I'm excited to see how that works. But at the same time, I think a really good Syndra can space Yasuo well enough to where the matchup's playable. What stands out to me for QC is the fact that um, QC got the Aphelios. I mean, Ribbons is a very, very good Aphelios player. It's a champion that has been frequently banned against them when they've just been playing in the signups. And the fact that it got let through all the way to fifth pick and ends up in a pretty good matchup, I would think, when you consider Aphelios versus Zaya. I think that's a really, really happy place for Ribbons to be.
So the only thing that I'm really interested about in this match is gonna be how good Rat is, because I have not played with Rat yet, and I don't think I've watched Rat play, so I don't know anything about this player. The only thing I know is that he's just Masters, and that's it.
So
So,
I've played against Rat a couple times already in the signups. He's a very, very good mid laner. He plays multi-role, plays a very good AD carry, and plays a very good mid lane. I believe on his climb to Masters, it was primarily in the AD carry role, but his mid lane has been very nice. Um, One thing that I've noticed just in playing against him a couple times now is he's a very aggressive player in lane. He's very, very confident trying to take that 1v1 to you, but he does expose himself to ganks. I think that is one thing that I've noticed that he will play aggressive at all times if he feels like the 1v1 allows it, sometimes not considering maybe where the jungler is. And if Jonah wants to camp in the same way that I've seen him get camped in some of these sign-up games, I think that could be difficult because when you consider who's the jungler, Pantheon, all he has to do is walk up and get in W range, and that's a guaranteed stun for Syndra. So I definitely think there's some playability there. However, if he's very controlled with his movement and then Sarveris is disrespecting the jungler, if Nautilus shows up and gets the hook on Syndra, that's probably a kill. And once Nautilus has 6, you don't even have to hit the hook first because the ultimate's a guaranteed knockup for Rat. Then you get a guaranteed hook, and it's going to be impossible for the Syndra to move. So the 2v2 around mid jungle, I think, will dictate a lot this game because I would expect that top lane's mostly just a farm matchup. I don't really see too much happening probably top lane unless maybe the junglers just really want to force it. But I would expect most of our action is going to occur around mid, and maybe we get some 2v2 bot lane action.
I'm very excited to see how like the river play kind of happens in a lot of these comps, because I don't think there's gonna be too much action during like a lot of these laning phases unless Rat can get onto Sarv somehow. I don't think bot is really gonna be that interactive, but I think the river fights are gonna be interesting. Like Braum and Nautilus should just be so OP, but we'll never know. We'll know
Yeah.
once we get into the game, but
Yeah,
we're get,
I've actually played this exact matchup into Rat. I played the Syndra into Rat. It's a matchup he likes. Um, if the Yasuo player is spacing really, really well and using the dashes really, really well, it can make Syndra's life really hard, and it forces the Syndra to have to play really, really respectful when typically Syndra's a champion that kind of gets to dominate lane. But if you're not careful with how you're positioning on the Syndra, Rat can just constantly walk up and pressure, pressure, pressure. And if he uses the wind wall at a really good time, it can just completely deny Sarver's damage. But that being said, I've already called it out a couple times. This is Sarveris, last season's MVP on what I think most people would consider his best champion in the Syndra. And he's going up against Rat, who's just one of these newer players who, we're hearing a lot of hype about, a lot of respect for. I mean, what a banger first matchup. To
so we
talk about some of the other players. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say we still have like a minute 40 until like we actually get into the game because of spectator delay. Do you want to do like one more rundown of the players, or do you want to do like a little prediction? Because I've changed my mind. I changed my mind on my original
Let's
prediction.
go one more rundown of the players, then we can kind of do prediction in the first minute or two of the game.
Okay.
So starting out, we've got Camazotz in top lane for One Thief. Camazotz is a player who I believe joined the server last season, played on SKT some. There was actually apparently some drama that I didn't know about till I was watching the podcast where, hey, shout out the podcast if you're not watching it. State of Scrims, Dean and Mason. It's a great weekly update. Apparently, Camazotz kind of got poached by One Thief because they wanted him so bad. But I do think he'll probably kind of be the weak side player of this team. You've got Jonah, you've got Sarverus. Jonah's going back to jungle after previously playing top lane last season. Very good jungler. Has won a season previously in jungle. Sarverus, MVP from last season. Dave, an extremely high ranked player, really good 80 carry player. His first season was last season, did well. And then you have Bean, who I think is a little bit underrated as a support. He actually spent the last season playing jungle, and now he's kind of back on his main role. Played really, really well in the past when he's on support. You saw the rel stats for him. Excited to see how he does. On the side of QC, in top lane, I believe we have Scott Pilgrims, who I'm not too familiar with him, other than the fact that he is a pretty high ranked player and has put up good performances so far in the server. Chow, I believe that's how you say that. Chow. I believe he's listed as the starting top laner for QC, but they have him in jungle this game instead of Drakkar. Interested to see how he does. We've talked about Rad already. Ribbons is, from what I'm aware of, a really good 80 carry player who has their favorite pick, the Aphelios. So if you had to take any champion into Dave, I think they're on their comfort. And then I think that leaves Paul M as the support. I've played with Paul a couple times now in scrims. Seems like a very, very good support and jungle player. I've noticed that he gives really good comms in game. I expect him to do well also. But that's kind of a quick rundown of all 10 players. I think we're set up for a good one. Mr. PB, what is your prediction, sir?
So originally I was going with. Oh my god, I'm messing up the zoom. Hold on. So originally I was saying it was what's that team? Qualmless Chillers 2-1 or 2-0, but I changed my mind. I'm going One Thief 2-1. Bean's been
With the One
grilling
Thief
me too
2-1?
much.
Okay.
I think it's a One Thief one
Okay.
now.
I'm not sure how to predict it, to be honest. I might not give a prediction. I'm honestly not sure. It feels really, really close to me. Um,
You're pulling the.
Purely looking at yeah, I might be pulling a little bit of a cop out by not giving a prediction, but it's really close. What stood out to me is the fact that it's not the QC starting roster, at least not that they had listed. I was really excited to see Drakkar. I know there's been a lot of hype on him playing in the server. A lot of people considering him the best jungler. I believe he's hit Masters, maybe even Grandmasters. Very, very good player. They've chosen not to run him this first game, whether that's by strategy or whether that's just by availability. I don't know, but excited to get to see some of the substitutes in Scott getting to play. Curious to see how he will do as well, but kind of not much left to do except kind of see how the game starts. I would expect that, as you said, not too much action in the early lanes unless Rel and Zaya just choose to get really aggressive.
I really wish I was like fully paying attention because I was more just double checking on my setup, but I Braum got a very deep ward like on the area before Raptor Pit. It's gonna be interesting to see if they do like anything with that information, like maybe some invades. But
Yeah, it's possible. You saw at level 1 how Rat started the dash on Yasuo. A lot of good Yasuo players will start dash level 1 and really get to exert pressure on the Syndra. It looks like he was actually able to kind of already generate a little bit of CS lead, but top lane is not going how you want to see it if you're a One Thief fan right now. I mean, Cho'Gath should win this matchup, but I don't believe Cho'Gath should be finding a solo kill this early, but just absolute dominance by Scott Pilgrims in the 1v1 already blows Ornn's flash, and Ornn's going to have to back in TP, and Pantheon's pathing away from top, so no bailout coming anytime soon. Camazot's going to have to be able to sustain his own lane a little bit better this time.
yeah, it just has to burn in TP and flash already. Gonna make this
tough,
lane like
but
really hard.
At the same time, though, Nautilus is also choosing to path bottom, so there's not really a concern of Nautilus going up and ganking the Ornn while it's on the bounce. But Scott Pilgrim's actually going to look for
Proxy.
a proxy, and that might be some of that information he gathered off that early ward, allowing him to do so.
I mean, I think a lot of this top lane is just gonna be ignoring just the top lane. Just both sides are gonna farm up for a little bit. I wonder if the
Yep,
Cho'Gath's gonna do
definitely.
any like funky builds, or if it's just gonna be like standard tank.
So,
I think
I'm
I
not
think
sure. He could kind of get away with either, but I would think you'd want standard tank.
I think a lot of like the weird builds got removed with like that battle song and Halo Blades tech.
Yeah, I haven't seen that as much, and I would think this game, just frontline into frontline, you're fine with your Cho'Gath being tank. I will note that Pantheon cleared a little bit faster than the Nautilus, but as you can see on the minimap, Rat has all the priority in that mid lane, walks down, and guarantees that his jungler is going to get that first crab. And now Pantheon could potentially be in trouble here if Braum walks up, but looks like he'll be able to get out the bot lane a little bit too slow to kind of pinch him there.
That's gonna be
But
two
that's
crabs going
really,
over to
really good.
Nautilus now.
Yeah,
A
and
little bit rough.
that's what happens when you have the mid priority of this matchup with the Yasuo. I definitely think Syndra can play this matchup, but early game you really just have to seed a lot of your pressure, and you kind of saw that right there. Really good lean by Rat, and gonna do the same thing here. Push in and then lean again. May choose to actually just take it back right now.
I also
Um,
have to wonder, like, there was these two wards that Cho'Gath got when they were doing the proxy. So they're
yeah,
just being very, very aggressive, like with their vision, trying to always know where Jonah is at all times. He's
yeah,
gonna
and I
be
think
making
that's important. Yeah.
it'd be making his life like pretty hard to actually get ganks going.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they have vision on Jonah, it allows Rat to play to his absolute limit in this 1v1, which is really, really important. If you're playing something like Yasuo into Syndra, you want to be able to dominate the 1v1. So as long as he has knowledge on where Pantheon is, he's just fully allowed to play aggressive, and that's really good for him.
I do wonder if Qualmless Chillers do end up trying to go for like an early drag at some point. I think their river fight is way stronger right now with the Braum. But Nautilus is opting to take a recall, so maybe he's gonna recall and then go bot. Do some of those bot camps and then start to do that.
Yeah, I would expect you'd want to see some ganks come through for the Nautilus. Definitely not what I would consider like a farming jungler. If you're picking Nautilus, you're definitely happy to drop some camps to help your lanes with the gank setup. So I'm kind of curious to see when is his first kind of play going to be? Where's it going to be? Obviously, as soon as he gets level 6, I think looking mid, anytime Sarvers isn't under turret is just almost guaranteed. Looking bot's obviously going to be doable, especially if you can get bot before Xayah gets 6.
So we're just getting a double recall out from the bot lane.
Yeah,
I guess
so,
every team's just they're just opting to go into like full farm for a little bit, and I mean both teams scale very well, so kind of makes sense that they both want to play a little passive.
Yeah, they are full farm here. Let's watch. Jonah is walking mid. Rat has actually
Oh, got a
not
nice
based
stun.
yet, and you get a stun there. So this could potentially be dangerous for him. Probably going to force out his flash. Actually, may just die
He
with the
just
ultimate. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I said. Earlier, Rat was allowed to play that aggressively because he had the vision information. This time, lost track of where Jonah could be coming from, overstayed a little bit on the map, just not having based yet against Syndra last chapter, and ends up getting punished. And that's first blood onto Syndra, which is really, really big for her in this matchup.
Although with them like kind of basing, they could potentially like lose Dragon here because Jonah has to go back top. I suspect once he shows them that pink on blue, then they're gonna look to start up drag or
Yeah,
like,
and I think if you get that drag here, you're pretty happy still if you're QC. Importantly as well, Rat did not blow his flash, so he still has that. But yeah, I mean Scott Pilgrims is just really helping his team out by getting this push into Ornn and then repeatedly putting down vision and tracking the jungler. And yeah, that will just result in a dragon.
I do wonder how a top fight would happen if because whichever support comes up here, like it's just gonna be wraps for the other team unless it's a full 4v4. Because I wonder what they're gonna do here about Grubs, both teams.
Yeah, Grubs is dangerous. I think both teams are going to kind of want to look for him. you know, the strength of the Pantheon and the Syndra is very, very strong, but if they misplay the Grubs fight... Oh, you see, actually, pause that thought. Nihilus is hanging just off vision. Looked like he was trying to look for a mid gank. Not sure if he got spotted out or just chose to back it up there with Rat's Wave getting pushed in, but yeah. I would expect we'll see the Nihilus ult come down pretty soon, and if it happens at a Grubs fight and Syndra doesn't have the safety of her turret, it could be really, really dangerous, because if you just consider the knock-up capability of Cho'Gath, of Nautilus, and then of Yasuo, Syndra could end up not moving for her entire health bar.
They do have to eventually get Camazotz a base here, because Camazotz is on no mana. So
Yeah, I think they just have to give Grubs here because, you know, you've seen that Braum is walking up and Bean has just chosen to stay in the bot lane. So I think this is just a full indication from One Thief that they're just not going to contest Grubs.
And this is kind of a little sad because you can't actually dive this kind of bot lane with the Aphelios being on red-white right now. It's really hard to dive this Aphelios.
Yeah, I assume they're just going to take a base bot lane, maybe? I mean,
if Jonah can walk into the bot jungle and at least take some camps, at least try and even it out a little bit, but...
Yeah, but they're about to spot Jonah on that. Well, maybe not. There was a ward behind Dragon Pit. Looks like it just went away, but...
they
yeah,
have
I mean, just
all
good
this...
use of the Braum roam up to just kind of guarantee Grubs. And now that's first three Grubs and first Dragon to Qualmless Chiller. So really good objective control in the early game, despite the one little hiccup of First Blood.
But I think you could be fine giving up First Blood if you're going to be getting all these objectives early. And getting the drag stack going, getting some Grubs, because this Cho'Gath has been beating up on the tower a lot.
Yeah,
I think that can
Cho'Gath
really help.
is half health the turret pre 10 minutes. I mean, he probably has Demolish, but even still, like, that's just he's working the Ornn right now in this counter matchup. Yeah, there's another Demolish stack. That'll be another plate. I mean, he just does not care. Walks through, takes the plates, gonna go for another proxy, and there's just been no effort by One Thief to ever try to shut down the Cho'Gath when he's going for these proxies. You know, whether or not that's the right decision, I think you could argue either way. But, I mean, they're just letting Scott Pilgrim have full range.
To engage on Braum here. Oh, that's a flash.
Well, they get Braum flash. That's pretty good. Have to see if they can punish it. We still have not seen that first Nihilus ult, and we still have not seen the first Pantheon ult. Both of those really big playmaking opportunities. Going to have to see where those junglers choose to finally put their attention.
Although this game's been like just so hard for Jonah to do stuff. They've been super annoying with all their vision. That's just been making his life like really hard to actually get anything going.
Rat is actually leaning down bot lane here. There's potential to look for a dive on this wave. If Braum manages to hit the knockup, that could give Rat the go-ahead, but just kind of a vision mission instead. Gonna walk it back. Nihilus chose to back. No reason to look for a 3v2 dive. Kind of a farm check. Everyone's farming pretty evenly outside of top lane, where Scott Pilgrims has generated a bit of a decent lead. Oh, really nice job leading that. Really nice job. That should be.
Double flash burn.
Yeah, double flash burned. It's actually pretty good for Rat getting both those flashes out and living. I mean, as well played by Sarv to put that pressure on, but if Jonah maybe could have got the ultimate a little bit further behind and been able to guarantee that kill, that would have been nice. And now I think Yasuo without flash is not as unfortunate as Syndra being without flash. We gotta see Nautilus go mid while Syndra's without this flash.
Or at least just try to be like really like this.
I mean, with Syndra no flash, if you just put the Nautilus ultimate on her, I really don't see how she can live if she's not under turret. Even if she is under turret potentially. So I'd really like to see Chow look for that play. I mean, it looks like we lost the scoreboard, perhaps.
Oh, oops. There we go. I didn't see that go away. Sorry.
I think you can drop the time controls as well.
I don't know. I don't know that button.
Okay. Looks like Scott Pilgrim's here. It's really close to just taking this turret out. I mean, if that's first turret for your team in isolation as Cho'Gath Ornn, I mean, that's big time plays out of Scott Pilgrims.
Oh,
he's very close to doing it.
I don't think he actually realizes that he's collapse on by all sides.
Oh, yeah, he has no flash, but not a quick enough reaction to actually punish him. But that pressure off of him will probably just result in a dragon. I don't really see how one thief can choose to fight this with no flash on the Syndra or the Pantheon.
And Cho'Gath also has TP, so if he wants to join this, he can.
And
Very
you also have
interested to see
Dave
this.
on the opposite side. They're really
Oh, we have a
split.
TP coming in.
Okay,
Being
Rel's
engaged
going
by
in.
Rel. Zaya's kind of frying right now.
Yeah, Zaya's doing damage, but gets caught by the knockup. That's
He's gonna die
bad.
after. Wow.
Oh wow, really nice ultimate by I believe that's Paul M right there on the Braum. Really good setup. Catches Dave out with the knockup. And yeah, I mean if Zaya gets hit by the knockup, like we saw, even with Flash and ult, you're kind of dead at that point. You have to avoid the knockup in the first place. But also, I think it's just an awkward fight. I mean, you have Dave on one side, and you have all three other players on the other side. Just kind of disjointed.
I do like the flank angle though, like from Zaya, like a little bit. Like, if it wasn't for the Cho'Gath TPN, I think that angle looks pretty good because the Zaya was able, like the Zaya and Rel were on 2 already at the start of the fight. It's just there's one little unfortunate thing where I think Dave was only thinking about the Nautilus ult. So that's why he wasn't ready to press R. Instead, the Nautilus ult went on to Rel. So it allowed him to get knocked up by the Braum ult. At least that's what I'm thinking. It's kind of going to Dave's
I
mind.
agree. I mean, it's hard to track everything, and against the team, like, this is such a good Yasuo team. I mean, you have all three kind of tankier supportive characters that have great knockup abilities, so it's going to be really hard for the carries of one thief this entire game to avoid everything. I mean, you can avoid 2, but if one hits you, I mean, that could still be death.
You wonder how Jonas could come in here. Should be able to get the stun. Oh, yeah.
Oh, W actually misses there.
Still has the wind wall, so it's going to be pretty hard for Syndra to ult here.
Yeah, I mean, he's just saving the wind wall until he sees the ult, so no actual kill there. And that's going to be first turret for the side of Qualmless Chillers, and that will give them the feats as well. Feats of strength. They got the first 3 objectives with 2 drags and all 3 grubs, and first turret, and maybe a potential collapse on Scott Pilgrims. No flash. He should die here, I would assume.
Should be a dead Cho'Gath. I think you have to try and force into like a Herald here. I think you need to try and get at least some neutral objective in this game, especially with Brahma Felios on bot side right now.
Yeah, really the first time that they've chosen to put any resources towards shutting down Scott Pilgrims' proxy, and as you saw, that ends up being a shutdown for Jonah on the Pantheon, so it's a good little bit of gold back. We're at about a 600 gold lead for the side of Qualmless Chillers. But we also didn't even comment on it. They actually also lost the bot turret, and you know, Ribbons and Paul M are pushing all the way up to tier 2 right now.
And now Jonah has to lose all of his bot camps. If only like Jonah was able to get his invade off, like when they were losing grubs. Like
yeah, I think this game state it doesn't look that dire right now, but in my opinion, I think we're at a kind of a dangerous spot right here if you're a One Thief fan. Like Qualmless Chillers with the pressure and the lane assignments they have is going to make it really difficult for One Thief to actually push out and apply pressure. Critically, I'd like to see Ribbons go mid. Oh, maybe a catch here, but
no one opts to use the Yasuo ult yet, and they traded the Nautilus ult there.
oh, if this is a knockup, that could be an ult into a kill, but oh, looks like he'll barely get away there. But as I was saying, I would like to see Ribbons elect to start going mid, which will force Sarverus to have to go bottom. And because the One Thief already lost both outer turrets in the side lanes, it's going to be really difficult for Syndra to match Yasuo in either side lane 1v1 because he'll have that extended lane to try to chase down.
I do think one thing that's very nice though about One Thief, like I think we were kind of talking about the negatives of them in this game, but top lane really got to stable out pretty well, and with the farm, in mid and bot just staying the same for the entire game, the gold really isn't like that bad right now. Like it was kind of nice that Orin got to stabilize their lane like pretty hard.
Yeah, One Thief has farmed well enough, I mean, in this game to have the scaling despite the fact that they've lost some objectives and they've lost some turrets. You know, if they're able to put it all together, they do have a good team fight composition. Just got to see if they can find those fights.
I do think that this next dragon's going to be very interesting. I think this is going to be the first fight where you get to really see probably the whole 5v5.
Yeah, it's looking like pretty similar items across the board as far as like item amount. Pretty much everybody's on 1.5. So yeah, should be a pretty good team fight.
It does look like they're already pre-moving the orange, so now, because they know Cho'Gath has TP up, so it's not going to be like last fight where Cho'Gath was able to TP in and kind of disrupt the whole fight. Now it's going to at least be kind of even for the entirety. But Brahms in a very interesting spot right here.
Yeah, Braum's potentially able to be caught out, but they're not confident enough to walk in, and we see Scott Pilgrim TPing, so it does look like we're setting up for that 5v5. I think critically, watch how Camazotz chooses to use the Ornn ult here. If he uses it too early and Braum just gets to block it for free, that could be really, really detrimental to One Thief's chance. So I'm tracking that, and I'm also tracking where Chow is able to get his engage.
I definitely think One Thief is trying to use the Herald in mid here to try and disrupt them. But I don't think they really care. I think they just want to make sure they get the soul point here.
Yeah, you see Syndra walking over now, so this is going to allow One Thief to finally walk up.
Oh, double knockup. They don't choose the R. Oh, this is going to be interesting.
There's the Ornn.
Oh, the wind wall blocks everything.
Wind wall. Yeah.
Oh, but a big stun by Bean. And a huge
Oh, huge pullback.
I think if they slow fight this, I think this could be... Oh, no.
It's close, but Ribbons is untouched.
Wow.
And that's just...
That just blew the game completely open.
Really, really, really well played by the members of QC there. I mean, you have multiple people just living on absolute 1 HP. The wind wall to fully block out the Ornn ult, blocked out a lot of damage too. I mean, that was massive. It's a very difficult comp to play both Ornn and Syndra into. I didn't even mention the wind wall before that fight. I was just talking about the Braum shield, but yeah, I mean, that's another option. Just block it out.
I totally am on board with you. I wasn't thinking about the wind wall at all either for the Ornn ult until that fight. Just having these two blocks make a lot of their characters just so annoying to play.
Yeah, and I mean, I think also like Ribbons was just untouched in that fight. I mean, the Aphelios was straight up untouched, landed a massive Infernum ultimate, and just put out a lot of damage there. And you know, right now, I mean, Ribbons is kind of getting the better of Dave in this 1v1, and if you're a One Thief fan, I would think you would be looking at Dave as kind of, you know, your highest ranked player, is kind of like the lane you'd want to be able to rely on. I think Sarverse is playing well into Rat, considering both counter matchup and, you know, the strength of Rat as a player, but I'd like to see a little bit more from Dave in this next team fight. He found good damage there, but it just wasn't enough to actually finish anyone off.
Do you think it's interesting that there's just no contest though on the Otacon here? I mean, it's really hard to. Jonah was farming top, so they kind of knew that. They knew they can kind of just restart. I think these fights
it's
are
just a good recognition.
Getting harder and harder.
Yeah, I mean, they're just getting every single objective right now. I mean, you can point at the fact that, yeah, One Thief's farming well. You know, the gold lead isn't that big, but with all the objectives going the way of Qualmless Chillers, I think it's just going to slowly add up against One Thief. I mean, if you end up with an Ocean Soul, you know, very quickly here, I think that becomes very, very difficult to ever even try to think about killing some of these tankier members on QC.
I'm trying to think, like, what's your way back into this game? Really, if you're One Thief, or just the way to stabilize the game?
I think the way back in is still through the Syndra. I think Syndra is, if Syndra can stay alive against this enemy team comp, I think she can actually play really well into it, because it's a very low range team composition. It's just all about, can she kind of position well enough to stay alive. So the way I'd be looking to help Syndra out here is by putting both support and jungle pressure towards collapsing on the side lane. I mean, you have Pantheon ult, for goodness sakes. At worst, you should be able to force out this Yasuo's flash, and then potentially look for a re, but they've kind of chosen to just have Bean mostly sitting mid with Dave, which again is just giving Rat the information that as long as he has somewhat of an idea on where Pantheon is, he's really free to just play far up.
Do you think there's any way, like, in these fights that Syndra can play from a flank instead to try and potentially threaten the Aphelios? Because I really don't know.
It's possible, but it's so dangerous to play from a flank because, you know, if Scott or if Chow or just paying attention, I mean, if I see Syndra on flank and I'm Nautilus, I'm just flashing on her instantly. I mean, you know, like you can look for the flank, but against this team composition, unless you're coming out of a spot with like no vision and you're able to get like a really quick combo off and then back out, I see that as being really, really difficult. I think you have to go front to back, but you almost need to bait out the wind wall a little earlier. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's challenging. You're going to have extended fights, I think, if you're the side of one thief to win. But at the same time, Yasuo and Aphelios are both really happy with extended fights.
I think one thief have to try their best to set up and just clear out all their vision, but this whole game, like, Qualmless Chillers has just been so annoying with their vision. It's just gonna be... It's just been very difficult to really get anything going. Because I think if they walk in blind, it's kind of hard for Qualmless Chillers that time to do stuff. Like, it's really hard. Oh,
Yeah,
wait, you have a big engage.
There's
Wow,
the double
there's
stun.
also
That's
just
exactly
dead.
what you needed. Yeah, and you
Bomb
saw
from
it
the
right there.
Ryan
There
here?
was no wind wall available. There's nothing there to actually block the Syndra QE, and that's huge damage onto both Ribbons. And yeah, you get Ribbons right before the flash comes back up, and that's good kills by one thief. Now, at the same time, you can't ignore the fact that Rat just picked himself up another turret, so that's a pretty big gold influx into him. Although it looks like can't tell if he's going to choose to back here or not. You know, maybe they could even catch him out here. They've spotted him now with the Ornn, I believe.
I think they're just full opting to make sure they get the objective. That was really smart by one thief to try and just take the fight. Like,
Yeah, you kind of have to. Like we said, you know, it's going to be difficult to win that straight up 5v5, so you take that little early pick onto the mid lane, and yeah, now they shut down the soul stacking. Good responses by by Qualmless Chillers, both to get the bot turret, and now they pick up a mid turret. So
Pantheon are in. Oh, but it's a little bit short.
yeah, a little bit too short there. I think you have to expect them to run up. Not sure if he didn't have the range or what, but yeah, they're just going to get out there. And I assume if you're one thief here, you don't want to fight. You want to spend whatever gold you just got from picking up those 2 kills.
And it does also delay the game by another 5 minutes. Now that there won't be another soul fight for a little bit. Keep getting items on Syndra. Start getting ornaments coming in.
Yep, you do have Dave both with the Infinity Edge now and as well as the Ornament version Infinity Edge. So pretty strong right here on the Xayah. Gonna have to look at Dave to put out a lot of damage in this next team fight because Syndra has good damage, but
it's
not
misses, but I think Jonah's just dead anyway.
Kind of just an unfortunate face check by Jonah. I don't think you're allowed to go that far up there, and yeah, it's just good punish.
I mean, they're going to be able to get the Ornn here. I'm sorry, I got stun locked by the Nautilus, but wait, they might actually burst Nautilus here too.
They do end up getting Nautilus, but that was Syndra's ultimate to do so I don't really think there's much of a chance to fight anyone else here. There's no feast on Shogath just yet, but I think, you know, you might still just be confident enough to walk up and start this objective even without your jungler, which, if you get Baron here, that's huge for QC as far as blowing this game open.
I mean, I think the Eat could be up by the end of it. I know it's a very short CD, like at this stage in the game. Well, it's not level 16 yet, but it was just kind of annoying. Jonah never went through that bush to really like face check or anything, and they were just able to full collapse onto Jonah.
Oh, Beat's looking to go in, but kind of just plays already kind of fizzled out there. So yeah, I mean, really nice play by QC to both pick the jungler and then just take that objective. And I mean, Yasuo is basically an 80 carry in the sense that he's a carry that builds attack damage. So anytime you have something like Yasuo plus a true 80 carry in the bot lane, I mean, your objective take is just so fast, and you saw it there. Syndra's still deathless this game, which I got to give at least some credit to. Like, that's impressive. It has been positioning really, really well against all the threats that the QC comp has. But at the same time, it's kind of gone for this more of a burn CDR haste build and doesn't quite have the burst to just one-shot through some of these other players. And I'm just not sure if the team fights are going to kind of be set up well enough for Syndra to actually be able to ultimately carry through.
I do have to think, though, like, since a lot of the damage is, like, primarily AD, like, a lot of the damage is coming from Aphelios, Yasuo. I think once you get, like, these Warden's Mail items, like Frozen Heart, and, oh wait, there might be a play on Dave here in mid.
Oh, there might be a play on Rat, though. It's actually
Wow.
Rat who's the one getting caught. He thought he was walking to the play, but he ends up being the one caught here.
Oh, Queen just misses ult, but wow, nice flash by Dave.
That's really good by
Oh,
Dave.
they got the Orn
Amazon's
coming
coming
in.
in with the big Orn ult. Oh, kind of
Oh.
whiffs everybody though.
Oh, and the I do think this is a.
I mean,
one
Dave
of
is
the
still
favorite
hitting,
fight.
so it ends up being okay. Now you do have red white here. You got to be a little bit careful. But
I mean, this was a fight that ended up going 1 for 3 for one thief. I think you take that every day.
yeah, it's not bad. I think had the Orn ult come through, you might have even been able to put some more pressure onto Ribbons there. But ultimately, you get 3 kills back. Your gold lead's back closer to 2K than it is 3K.
Look,
And objective bounties actually just fallen off. So they've brought the gold back enough to get those objective bounties gone. That's Baron off of your Yasuo, which is huge. But I think we are still just going to be setting up for this dragon fight. And Dave's not going to have flash at this dragon fight critically. Now, Ribbons will not either, but both AD carries no flash. It's going to be really dangerous for Dave to play this out because he's not going to have the ultimate in time either, if I'm correct on the timer of the dragon.
I do think though in this fight it's gonna be really big for Jonah that he finally got full Ranuans. I think he's gonna be so tanky when dealing with the Yasuo and the Aphelios. Like maybe even what happened before the Nash where he kind of face checked and got just one banged. I don't think that could happen.
Oh, they're looking for a pick onto. Oh, really nice. That's really smart by Scott Pilgrims there to use the sweeper. Ket spots them out in that bush, and I don't even know if they know he got spotted out.
Oh.
Yeah, really, really good job by Scott Pilgrims there to not walk up and give them some free chunk before that fight, even with him having teleport. And, interestingly enough, Rat's just pushing top. He's like, we don't necessarily have to fight this. He can TP if he wants to, but at the same time, I mean, he's making the correct call to just go pressure that turret.
Oh, just should have thrown the Bramble.
Well, Bramble misses everybody there a little bit early on that.
We have the TP.
Yasuo's TPing in, but it's a really aggressive TP.
Oh, we have a big ulti in. Dave could maybe get a big.
Oh, Felios is
pullback.
Untouched.
I mean, it was.
Watch
right, though.
Felios.
Dave and Syndra are open. Oh.
Watch the Yasuo ult.
Wonder, can Sarval play this here? Oh my
No,
god.
it's a lot of damage.
Wow, this Aphelios is just shredding in every single fight.
It's a really, really close fight, but again, yeah, I mean, I think if both if Ribbons is untouched, the Aphelios damage is just so high, and you saw it there. Really well played by Ribbons. I think One Thief actually had a pretty good start to the fight. Paul M straight up missed the Braum ult on everybody. Bean found a really nice engage on the Rel, but ultimately the Rel engage never touched Aphelios, and once again, if Aphelios is untouched, I don't see how you can win the fight. And Syndra has the damage to threaten Aphelios, but Syndra's not able to ever walk far enough up to actually reach the range to threaten Aphelios. If Syndra ever tries to go far enough to hit Aphelios in a fight, it's just going to get her killed. And you've seen that because Sarver still has 0 deaths, but at the same time, Aphelios is untouched. Sooner or later, something's going to have to give there. We will see, but yeah, that's Ocean Soul for the side of Cho'Gath and the side of Nautilus. That's going to be pretty tough. And you have no heal cut right now on the side of One Thief outside of the Thornmail. Gonna have to see if anybody else is going to choose to pick that up.
I mean, now also Aphelios has the Guardian Angel, so even if you get through 1 health bar of his, you still have to worry about another life coming out from him. I think what they have to somehow do, I don't think they'll let them happen again though, is that play where they made earlier, where they got that first kill on Aphelios. They just need to somehow find him alone, and I don't think that's gonna happen again.
Ribbons has actually chosen to go ahead and buy that Guardian Angel 4th item too. I mean, I think Ribbons totally recognizes what you do.
Wow,
oh,
Dave just missed.
Big side step.
Oh, this Yasuo's just dashing in.
He does not care.
Goodness.
Oh my god, he just owned him. Oh my god.
That was an incredible play by Rat, and I think that should probably be the game. Dave gets caught.
Yeah, I think Sarver's flash, I can't 100% tell. Maybe it was down right there, just a little bit longer. I'm not 100% certain. But yeah, I mean, just nice job by Rat to recognize he can just walk up there, find that knock up, and yeah, that's going to be the first death on Syndra, and that's all it's going to take for them to close this game out right here.
That was just
really, really nice combo.
That was just freaky movement out of the Yasuo. I don't think there's anything that these guys can do here to stop this push.
Yeah, I don't think One Thief even saw that angle because they really just let him dash through everybody, just go right at the Syndra. I don't think anyone saw that angle except Rat there, and really nice job by him, and really clean game out of the side of QC game one. Great
Al-
performance by them.
Although I will say, for One Thief to win 2-1, you have to lose one game. So
Your prediction is still potentially alive. We will go with that. Um, as we get ready for game two, I'll just say what stood out to me number one, and I called it out before the game. They gave Ribbons the Aphelios. That's, as far as I'm aware, Ribbons' best champion. You also gave Ribbons Aphelios on R5. It's not like they picked it after first three. I gotta immediately look at that and say that's probably a bad read on the part of One Thief. I think you don't want to give Ribbons that Aphelios again. Looked way too comfortable on it. Maybe you say we get Dave a better matchup into it, it can go a little bit better. But at the same time, if I'm a One Thief fan and I'm saying Dave's supposed to be our best player, let's play through him. Let's get Ribbons off of Ribbons' most comfortable champion. So I'll be very curious to see if they choose to just let Ribbons have that Aphelios again.
you could just yap away right now. I have to try and fix these assets.
Okay. Other information as we head into game two, because One Thief lost, they again got side selection. So One Thief also had side selection in game one, and they chose blue side. They've lost on blue side. They've now chosen to look for that red side. Curious to see. I assume they're going to try to give counter pick to Sarverus. He probably was a little bit frustrated that game. I feel like he had a good game on the Syndra, but there was really only so much he could do. Curious to see what they'll do there. They chose to ban away Rat's Kiana. Maybe they'll consider changing that up. Personally, I think Kiana's a lot less scary if the Kiana's blind picking and you get to choose a good matchup into it. When Kiana has a favorable matchup for Kiana, I think that champion can be really hard to deal with, but I don't think it's a champion that's like uncounterable by any means. And Sarverse is typically a player who I think is very good in lane. And Kiana is a champion that can be very hard to play in lane. So potentially, I think you could risk kind of giving Rat as Kiana if he's willing to blind pick it and try going to counter pick. We will see. Otherwise, I don't know if you have to change up too much for draft. I think you'd like to avoid, Dave ending up in a counter matchup as well if you can help it. I don't think the Xayah looked as comfortable for him. You saw 5 bans get thrown at Dave. Perhaps we pick Dave in the first half this time, so that way he's not eating all 5 bans. I thought Bean played well on the Rel, but ultimately that's a hard comp to play Rel into. I'm curious to see where the Nautilus priority is for game 2. To be honest, I thought the Nautilus played a fine game, but kind of just floated through the early game, and QC started team fighting really well. Not 100% sure on the strength of that champ just off that one game alone. I think a lot of tank junglers could have kind of looked similar there. Scott Pilgrim's had that big counter pick. He exerted a lot of pressure top lane. I'm sure that One Thief's kind of general strategy this season is going to be to weak side Camazots, just when you consider the individual players on that team. But at the same time, I think they did themselves a disservice that game by letting the Cho'Gath kind of go unchecked in that 1v1 for so long. You saw that the moment they've sent even 2 other people up there, they shut the Cho'Gath down and got a shutdown, but they didn't even do that until after Cho'Gath had already fully taken a turret. It was resulting in having a ton of vision on Jonah the entire early game. So I would like to see them try to put a little more help towards Camazots in the early game, even if he is on this, I guess you'd call it a weak side matchup. But I don't know, good stuff out of both teams. I think there's things each team can look at, try to improve on. And I think we're a few minutes away from draft, and we'll be back shortly with that. Looks like are now just a couple minutes away. We'll be getting into the second draft shortly. For anyone watching that wasn't aware, especially if you're newer to the server, there's been a lot of fearless drafting going on in the signups. But as far as the actual weekly tournament that goes on that you're watching right now, that is not fearless draft. That is your typical standard drafting. So every pick that was taken in game one is available again for game two. So we can potentially see some of those repeats. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw the Aphelios come through again if One Thief chooses again not to ban it. Wouldn't be that surprised if we saw Sar versus Syndra come through again, even though it lost. I think, if you're looking at a highlight for them that game, it was the Syndra. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see that again. Beans Rel looked good. Potentially could see that again. What QC will choose to first pick on blue will be interesting to me. They chose to give Aphelios a really late pick, to give Ribbons a really late pick last draft. This time around, you're on blue side. Perhaps you're just willing to take that Syndra first pick, or excuse me, that Aphelios first pick. At the same time, I kind of just spoke about what I'm going to say next. I haven't actually seen Rat play the champion yet, but what I've heard is that he's also a good Syndra player. So it could potentially be that, they choose to first pick the Syndra this time around, both as a denial and just as it being a pretty strong pick. What would Sarverus then go to as far as the counter pick? I don't know. I don't think it'd be something like the Yasuo, but I'm sure he has something in mind that he would go for a counter pick. So we can kind of see that. But at the same time, I think if you're QC, sure, you may feel you could play the Syndra, but you just had no problem using the counter matchup. So you may choose that maybe that's not what you want. A lot of options here, especially when you've won.
I wish I paid more attention to the bans in the first game. Besides, I know that Qualmless Chillers, they just banned out 580 carries. So I wonder I don't remember what the other champ bans were.
I'm looking at it right now. So yeah, Qualmless Chillers chose to ban out in the first phase. They banned out the Neela, the Samira, and the Yunara. One Thief chose to ban out the Kiana from Rat, but then two of Scott Pilgrim's champions in the Singed and the Urgot. That tells me that they knew they were going to try to get this Ornn. They must have felt like that Singed and Urgot were two of the matchups they did not want to play Ornn into, and so that was kind of their thought there. This time around, you have red side, which typically can result in top lane counterpick if you want it. I mean, it always can if you want it. So maybe they'll free up some of those top lane bans and say, hey, a blind pick Urgot or a blind pick Singed is not as scary as if, you're playing it into our Ornn. At the same time, I wouldn't be that shocked if they don't choose to just put Camazotz back on Ornn again. At which point, maybe the bans will stay the same, but we're immediately getting into draft and we can kind of see for ourselves. And so far, bans have stayed the same.
I really don't know what the draft adaptation will be.
So potentially
they're
going to ban the Yasuo. That tells me you're going to first pick Syndra, or I mean, they're going to take Syndra and they're going to say, if Yasuo and Kiana are both gone, now you don't have a counter pick. Maybe that's what they're thinking. But at the same time, I think that's really telegraphed. And if Rad is confident in his Syndra, you could just steal that away, and then you have a really powerful mid pick.
Nothing's getting covered out here. I honestly don't even know who they would first pick.
Potentially the Aphelios, I think would be smart. I like that. I mean, it's a flex pick. They chose to put it jungle last game. There's nothing stopping them from putting it support though, and now you're already kind of saying, hey, you want Syndra again? We might just throw Nautilus back in jungle and have fun.
I mean, maybe their idea, Qualmless Chillers, is just to wait on the Aphelios pick again. Oh, wait, whose Smolder is that gonna be? Is that Dave Smolder or Sarver's Smolder?
It could be either. I'm going to assume it's going to be bot lane Smolder, but, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe they feel like Smolder's a better matchup into the Aphelios. I don't actually know how that matchup goes, so I'm not going to really opine on that, but maybe that's their opinion. But again, we just see the Ornn. And you see Ornn on 2, which doesn't even allow you to ban out counters as if you picked him on 3. They're really putting Camazotz to the test here as far as weak side goes. Because, I mean, if you're QC, I don't know why you don't just pick Cho'Gath again.
They do opt back into the Aphelios. I mean, the Aphelios will just outrange the Smolder, but I think with how passive the lane went last time, I think letting the Smolder kind of like free scale to 225, I think that could be really good. So they just end up with like the same bot lane, potentially. Okay.
Yeah. So same exact situation here. Now, one thief could potentially ban away the Cho'Gath if they're concerned about that. Now, I think you have a hard question here if you're Sarverus. Is it, do I take my Syndra on 3 or do I try to get last pick? Looks like they're going to choose to let mid lane fall to last pick. That's almost certainly going to be a Zillion support with Bean. They feel confident in that matchup into Braum. I think Zillion can be a good pick into Braum. But as of right now, I mean, you are like really scaling on the one thief side. Not a lot of strong early game power yet.
Has Bean talked a lot to Dr. Dad? Has he got the Zillion notes from him, or
We will have to wait and see. We will have to wait and see. But so that's going to be Cho'Gath and Urgot are banned. So what is left open that was not left open last game for Scott Pilgrims is both the Dr. Mundo and the Mbessa. Those were banned in second phase. Both are open this time. Sarverse is going to have to go for something besides the Syndra. And Jonas just going to go ahead and take Lilia. Interesting. I feel like the Lilia is probably a good pick into Nautilus jungle, and you're already showing the Braum, so you kind of have to put the Nautilus jungle at this point. So I can kind of see why you'd want Lilia there. Now, Nasus is an interesting pick here because that Wither can be really, really deadly both against the Lilia and against the Smolder, but at the same time, Zillion's slow is equally as frustrating for Nasus.
I mean, what happens when you get hit with the 99% speed up after the 99% slow?
Mel here would be interesting. I think Mel has a lot of counter picks in lane, but at the same time, it's a pretty strong pick into the Ornn, obviously. It's a pretty strong pick into Smolder. Don't love or hate the Mel necessarily.
What's the interaction between W and Lilia ult?
I believe it may be a projectile. I've not actually seen that interaction happen yet, but I believe that may be able to get reflected as well. So yeah, interesting spot. And I don't really know what you go for if you're Sarvers here. I think Syndra would probably have been what he would have wanted. Now we'll have to wait and see what he kind of feels is the pick into the Mel.
I mean, maybe he wants something a little bit more aggressive. I think just something that can do
like
something
a
in the
Kali
early
or
game,
something.
or it just goes full scale.
I mean, the ASOL is what a lot of players identified as like the hard Mel counter, especially when Mel first came out. In lane, it's not that bad for the Mel because ASOL has to obviously stand still to channel his fire breath most of the time, which gives Mel free damage in a sense. But come mid game, if Mel ever just wastes her root and uses it at inopportune timing, Aurelion Sol is kind of just allowed to fly at you and pump damage out. But you just said it. I mean, that is a full scaling team comp on the side of one thief. Frankly, I think it's a little bit disrespectful against QC, considering how well QC played the early game last time. I don't see a world in which we don't see a similar result of QC just picking up all those early objectives. Now, maybe this time around you say, we can give you those early objectives because unlike last game, one thief will be strong enough come that third, fourth dragon fight to truly fight it and win it. And I think that's got to be what their read is. But I see this early game being very, very difficult. Pretty much Smolder, ASOL, even Lilia are really just wanting to farm out this early game. Also, I don't think we are allowed to see Scott Pilgrims go unchecked this time. I mean, you saw what he did on the Cho'Gath last game. If he gets to just free farm, free stack, proxy waves as freaking early game Nasus, I'm going to be questioning what we're doing. But, maybe with the Lilia, with the Ornn, you could try to put some more pressure on Scott Pilgrims, kind of punch that early game a little bit harder this time. But definitely don't want to see like just an identical game state to how last game went if you're a One Thief fan.
Really wondering though, like how much it's gonna change because I feel like Cho'Gath could be way more annoying like at the first couple levels because like the matchup really just blew up on level 1 with Cho'Gath just running down the Ornn. But can Nasus kind of do the same thing with his Q against Ornn and just start the proxy right away?
I think he can. Now, you know, I feel like if Jonah goes up there though, and if Ornn's able to just get a knock up or two, like there's some threat. I mean, depending on what Scott Pilgrims chooses to take as well. Some Nasuses prefer, ghost teleport. Then at that point, he wouldn't have flash, but I don't know. I don't have a lot of. I feel like it's not necessarily an easy thing to shut Scott Pilgrims down, and the fact that the early game went so well in his favor last time, I guess the big concern would be if you're a one thief player is you try to go up there to help, it doesn't work, and then not only are you behind on farm because you tried to put pressure top lane, you didn't even get anything with the pressure top lane. So it's kind of it's a tricky spot. I think whatever one thief chooses to do this early game, you have to commit to that and just play towards it because you do have scaling. It's just a question of if you can get there or not. We can kind of talk about the stats on screen. Rat 1-1. Ribbons 2-1 now, 3-1 on the Aphelios after last game. Sarverus 3-1 on the Acel with a very nice KD. Dave and Bean both have even performances. Jonah 5-9 on the Lilia, so not historically one of his best champions, but still rocking a fairly good KDA in 2.35. So it's not like he's just been getting absolutely blasted even in the losses. But as Mason Jars has said in the chat, why did they let Aphelios through again? I'm also questioning that. I think I questioned it all game last game. I'm questioning it before the draft this game. They must just feel like these other champions are worse. And, I kind of get it. Like, if you're looking purely at rank v rank, you would say, Dave should be able to beat this guy, even if he is on Aphelios. But after, I feel like that's something you try one game. You saw that Ribbons had an insane performance last game, looked so comfortable the entire game. Personally, I would not let them have it again.
I do
We'll
think
see if the Smolder's a better answer.
I feel like this game though can be a little bit more annoying, like for the Aphelios to play. Like there's no more Yasuo win while there's one less of those blocks coming out. I feel like the empowered Acel ulti can be like very annoying. Lilia can be way more annoying.
Yeah, you're right.
I feel like
I
just
think Acel can really threaten the Aphelios in a way that maybe Syndra couldn't last game.
and I think they can like extend these fights like with the Zillion. Like, I feel like a lot of these fights can be extended and can be really annoying for Qualmless chillers. And I think one thief they were okay with trying to scale, and I think this time around they have way more scaling.
Yeah, I mean, I think if one thief is going to choose to play the game how they did last game, they have a comp more suited to it. My concern is if Scott Pilgrims goes unchecked, he starts bodying the side lane, and it gets to a point where he's able to just wither the Acel and even run him down in the side lane. I could see it getting kind of scary. Now, if they're able to keep Scott Pilgrims in check a little bit more, and Asol's able to scale and get to his damage break points, I do think Acel is a champion that can kind of just farm this enemy team comp. There's really not a lot of threat onto him. Yes, you have the Nautilus ultimate, but if Asol's positioning well, he can create enough distance to where no one should be able to follow up the Nautilus ultimate. It's not like Yasuo last game; they can just press a button and boom, he's on top of you. If Aphelios or Mel or Nasus want to walk up to actually hit the knocked up Acel, they're going to be required to kind of get in dangerous range themselves.
Oh, actually, no, never mind. I was gonna say, oh, we forgot to do MVP for the first game, but I think there's a very clear option for MVP in that first game.
I actually think it's rather close. I'm going to give a shout out to Scott Pilgrims. I think his early game was absolutely disgusting. The info gathering he had. But ultimately, I am going to give MVP personally. I would think it'd be Ribbons. I mean, just a
Yeah,
really,
it
really
was
great
on
game.
Ribbons. He had a really good Aphelios game. Although
Everyone on QC played well.
Rat did
Yeah.
get like kind of the game-winning engage on the Syndra, but I think just how
Frankly,
well.
I think the game was already over at
Yeah.
that point. Yeah, I think you have Ocean Soul. I think it was fancy. It looked nice, but I mean, ultimately, I think Ribbons just played the early game out well, played the team fights out well. I didn't see the damage chart, but I would assume was up there near the top. And ultimately, I'm gonna give it to Ribbons. I mean, that was just
Wait,
an absolutely insane game.
Is the stream all messed up? Oh no.
I can't see anything if you're trying to share it to me right now.
What happened?
I tried moving it to the other screen and OBS just pooped out. Oh my god. Dean's gonna kill me. Hold on. Let me restart Discord really quick, or OBS really quick. Yes, I am. Don't worry, I paused it. We're not gonna like lose anything.
Okay.
Alright, everyone say we're back.
All right, we're back. If you can stream your screen for me, that'd be great. And it looks like we are quick technical difficulty. Complete shout out to Plain Bagel X for fixing that as fast as he could. We love a great streamer, and we are back, everybody.
Not leave. I guess I could. No, I'll get you. Don't worry, I paused it. We're going right from the beginning. Wait, I hit the time controls.
I will ask if you can turn on objective timers at the bottom of that list.
I did forget that last time. I knew I forgot something. Why is OBS like a little off-centered though?
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
We're good.
We're so back.
We're so
okay.
back.
Nothing crazy happening in level 1 as we do a runes check. Nothing too crazy. Nasus opted to go for the spell book, also opted to go for the ghost. I don't think anything there is too out of whack. A little bit of dancing in the mid lane, a lot of respect. No queuing from the Mel onto Acel so far.
One thing
little
that
bit
won't
dancing in
happen
top
this
lane
game
as
though
well.
is like the Braum was able to get the ward like here,
Yeah.
but that won't happen this time. So I wonder.
Yeah, so we saw last game that despite the fact that Jonah had cleared a little bit faster on the Pantheon than the Nautilus, Rat's mid lane pressure allowed the Nautilus to get both crabs. I don't think you can allow that to happen again if you're the Lilia. I'd like to see Jonah be able to contest a little bit earlier, either by, winning the fight outright or just pathing in a way that allows him to get the crab. Jungler's starting on opposite sides of the map this time, unlike last time too, though.
So, and as long as like Scott Pilgrims can't get any as long as he can't get any information on where Jonah's pathing, then I think it could be really annoying. Like I think you
Now,
can actually.
granted that they do already have information though, because I'm not sure who snuck it in. It may have been Rat. Someone got that ward on the Raptors of Jonah, so they will have an idea that Jonah's pathing towards top lane. It also looks like Scott Pilgrims is allowing the wave to actually come into him this time versus exerting a lot of that early pressure as Nasus kind of needs to do. So good job by Camazotz, kind of using his early game pressure, putting some pressure on the Nasus. Anytime you can get the wave under Nasus's turret and make it harder for him to hit those CS numbers he wants, that's always good.
But Passive Proc does come out on Dean. Oh, has to exhaust.
Pretty good damage out though overall. I mean, it's half health on both members of QC while Dave is still remaining at full. Paul M is hitting really nice Braum Qs though. Got to give that guy a shout out.
If it wasn't for the technical difficulties, I would have commented on Bean's rune, but since there's not much going on right now, I do think Grasp on Zillion's like a little interesting. I know it was a setup some people were running for a bit. Oh, but a big trade credit for Camazotz.
Oh wow. Really big by Camazotz. The no flash on Scott looks like he will be okay, but
Should be able to
putting
heal
a lot
up
of
from the
pressure
door
out.
end. So I don't think there's actually gonna be a dive potential, but
No, but we are seeing the junglers split map this time around, and it should just be, bot crab for Nautilus, top crab for Lilia. Scott's actually choosing to stay around. They could potentially look for the dive after Jonah gets crab, although I don't know how easy it actually will be to dive Nasus if they choose to go that route. And he does already have the ward in the bush. He's kind of sniffed
Bean's
it out.
gonna get ran down. That's just first
Oh,
blood.
that's a really unfortunate death for being there.
I mean, there was nothing their bot lane could do. The wave was just in such a bad position that they kind of just had to take the L on that. I mean, and now like he can still
Mulder's in a
get.
tough spot though. Doesn't really know where Nihilus is. Nihilus is actually going for the wraparound. Okay, actually just looking for a little bit of vision. Man, this QC team is doing a great job of getting vision on Jonah every single early game. I mean, that's a really noticeable thing that I've seen is that every member of the team is doing a good job of
Flash
getting
forward. This
jungle
could be a
vision when
little
they can.
overzealous.
Yeah, it's a little bit too much there, and they didn't track the timing on which Bean would get back, and
I don't think this is gonna be another kill, but it's gonna be at least a
at least
barrier
you get
burn.
the barrier. Yeah, I mean that's all sums, and Dave still has all summoners up on the smolder, so a little bit too aggressive there by QC, and a good punish by the side of One Thief.
And it's gonna be annoying, like all the farm that. Oh my god, why did I forget his name? That Ribbons was making Dave lose. Now he's gonna lose a lot of farm back.
Yeah, Dave actually ends up getting to get a really good base off, which he probably wasn't going to get to do had One Thief not kind of made that error, or excuse me, QC made that error. In mid lane, Sarvis is going to even up the farm here a little bit, but Rat doing a good job of getting that early farm advantage.
Oh, they're gonna pitch. Oh,
Wait.
that should just be. Wait! Oh my god.
Oh my god, that's not good if you're One Thief. Really
Oh,
nice job by Rat. He gets that level 6. He plays it really well to kite downwards, reflects the bowling ball, and then is saving his E for the moment that Asol flies in. I mentioned that earlier. If he ever misses the E or wastes it, it gives Asol free reign to fly. But if he has that E up and Asol chooses to fly directly at him, it's kind of a guaranteed route into a guaranteed Q into the ultimate. And pretty huge by Mel to find a 1v1, essentially a 1v2 there. Solo kill in what would be a counter matchup. So really nice job by Rat.
Looking like a little top trades coming out. Oh, a bunch of auto cancels. As long as walks out. Just say as long as he misses the Q, but still hits it anyway, and Bean's fine. I do think Scott Pilgrim's can just run down Amazon.
Yeah, I think he has
Oh.
6 here. Oh man, I'm surprised Scott Pilgrims didn't just pop ult and go for the kill there. I guess he knows the wave's not going anywhere. He doesn't really have to do it right now. Yep, there it is.
And this should just be a
that's a dead
solo
orange.
kill.
Oh,
There was nothing that he could do anyway. Maybe he could have R'd the wave to try and get some creeps on the way out, but
good recognition by Scott Pilgrim. As soon as he gets that level 6, hey, tables have already turned, bud.
one thing that's
starts
nice
winning
here
that
though is that
matchup.
they can at least start off by getting a drag. Like it won't be this drag stacking that happened last game.
And Rat's walking up pretty far here without flash. I think that's a little bit dangerous. Sarver's had ultimate there. I think potentially they could have looked for a punish, but want to just get the dragon, want to back out. I think that's fine. So Feats of Warfare go over to QC with that top lane kill. They're already at 3. 1 dragon to no objectives on the side of One Thief.
I wish I could comment more on like Nautilus builds, because last game Nautilus ended up going Heartsteel, but it looks like this time I think that's the Leandre's build they're gonna go now.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Nala's jungle doesn't end up going for kind of like that Amumu bruiser build where, you can go full tank on Amumu, but a lot of Amumu players like going for that first item Leandre's into a more tankier setup. Nihilus has pretty good AP scalings, all things considered, for like a tank. So, in the past when Nihilus has been played in lanes other than support, whether that's mid, top, or jungle, he has typically opted for a little bit of AP. So I do like that adaptation by Chow, especially when you're into something like the Lilia, who's going to be a little bit squishier. Having that extra bit of damage on the Nautilus could be nice.
So I did want to just do a little like stack check-in. The Smolder's only at 52. I feel like
What is
sometimes.
Nasus looking at?
Oh, I have no idea what. Nasus at 108. I don't know what that means. But I know like
I
sometimes it's.
think
I know with Smolder they want to be kind of like 10 per minute. I feel like, or around that kind of mark. I know it like ramps up big time. Like once.
I'll
Chuck
trust
hit
you
the
on that.
one-
I really don't know. I do think Nasus is stacking pretty well, though. I think 100 already pre-10's pretty damn good. I mean, he'll be clearly well beyond 200 come probably 15 minutes at the rate he's going. So stacking well. Interesting to see what he's opting for. He's sitting on Sheen. I I assume he's gonna go for Triforce. Almost has to go for Triforce,
Iceborne.
but opting to. Oh,
Hmm.
I guess.
That's kind of interesting with
Right.
the 2 AP threat.
Yeah, he could do that. Um, Farm is still mostly even. A little bit of favoritism on either side.
I do think that
Lily has generated some farm lead.
the mid like CS league could end up playing a big part.
Yeah, that's the one thing about Mel. Like, it's so easy mode to farm on. Like, Mel has got to be the easiest champ to farm on in the game, but Acel, isn't that hard of a champ to farm on either. So you'd like to see Sarvis be able to close that gap a little bit, but I mean, Mel's almost expected to go 9 CS a minute. I mean, as long as you're not missing waves off of like death timers, it's really hard to not last hit with the passive. It's why it feels really, really nice to farm when you're playing Mel,
I mean, there is
which
gonna.
typically mages are difficult to farm on. Yeah.
I am interesting. I don't know what's gonna happen like at this Cloud Drake fight. Like it is a Cloud Drag. If you really want to, you can kind of sack that.
Could choose to sack it if you're the side of, I guess, either team, but I mean, you already have one. If you're able to somehow get 2 early drags as the Asol Smolder comp, that'd be a little bit illegal in my opinion, but I mean, take it if they give it to you. I do think you have to have a little bit of a concern though, because if you misplay that, you don't want to let this QC comp start snowballing onto you when you're currently only down 1k gold as the scaling team. But to be fair, I mean, QC scales hard too. Both teams are scaling teams.
They're really trying to force the player on the spot. I don't know if they ended up spotting the Nautilus because he tried walking into lane for a second, but I think that backboard could have picked him up.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure if they spotted him out or not. Both top laners have just used teleport to come back to lane, so it should only be 4v4 around this dragon. No early top laner
Oh, this should be an
shenanigans.
engage. No W.
Yeah, right there, you saw it. Rat kind of misuses the E, and as I mentioned, if you kind of use that E haphazardly, Asol's allowed to just fly directly at you. And critically, didn't even use the Asol ult there. Good job by Sarv to recognize that wasn't needed.
Ooh, wait,
that ends up
Camazot's
being
actually
pretty
gonna
big.
solo? Oh, I think Camazot
Oh,
solos.
he walks to the
Wow.
turret. Oh, wow. Even with 2 turret shots, picks up the solo kill there. That is massive for Camazotz. It's really, really well played by him.
Surprised Camazot's been playing this way. Oh, nice flash.
And good job with Flash. So yeah, really, really good stuff out of Camazotz there. Really nice job fighting back after kind of a rough game 1. And I mean, he even got solo killed at 6. So to be able to bring that matchup back right there, that's really well played by Camazotz. Great job to him. And that
also getting the
evens
Nautilus
kills
flash,
up.
too.
Actually,
Oh, is this gonna be
that
another
ends up
repeat
giving
bit?
that ends up giving
Oh.
One Thief the kill lead. But is Starburst have ultimate up? Like,
No, I think he.
I can't tell. It's too small for me from your spectate to tell. But
I think he.
I
Has
don't
it up.
get if he, to me, he's greeting that there. It might be that he's trying to save it for Dragon Fight. He might be really close to the Empowered Ultimate. I'm not entirely sure, but I mean, having Flash and Ult both up there and using neither kind of feels like, I don't know if he had to give Rat that kill back, but good job by Rat. Kind of 2 for 2, but critically, Rat's deaths have allowed Sarvers to actually even that farm lead up, and it is going to be a second dragon for the side of One Thief, and with your team comp, getting those early 2 drags is pretty massive.
I'm trying to run through the items right now. Don't really know, like. I think the Knight's Vow first is a little interesting out of the Braum. I personally would still just go for the Locket, but I guess they're trying to do the same strategy as last game, which is defend the Aphelios and have the Aphelios try and just unload massive damage.
Yeah. I think you're probably right on that. I do still question the Iceborne Gauntlet over the Triforce. I mean, clearly just wants to be a little bit tankier, but I mean, Ornn does primarily magic damage, and then you're into double magic damage jungle and mid. I'm not sure if the slow value of Iceborne kind of outweighs just the damage from Triforce and going into like some early MR. We will see. Maybe he thinks the slow is like going to be really useful against just the speed that the non-Ornn champions have on the side of One Thief, but I don't know. Not too sure about that.
Oh, be a nice
Bean
little
looking
engage
for
on
that's a
Grimm's
really
here.
nice double bomb. Great chunk.
We're just getting another engage on mid. I think this should be another kill. You know? Well, at least a flash burn.
Flash out, so but having no flash is pretty big. We'll be pretty exposed for reganks. And Bean's just starting to hit every double bomb, and as soon as you do that, and Smolder just gets to walk up and Q, you know, you're doing work.
Oh, but
Oh, a
Bean
little
could
bit of
be caught
aggressive
here.
positioning though. I don't know about that.
I mean, I think it should be fine with the.
He does have the
Zillion arm.
ultimate.
Oh, but Dave doesn't really
Just
want
a-
to help too much.
Split off.
Oh, wait, we have the Asol flying in.
Oh, they're doing such a good job of not actually finishing Bean off.
Man, that was a really smart bait. You got 2 flashes out of it.
Yeah, ultimately it does. So yeah, you end up losing Bean summoners for all the summoners on the side of QC. Ends up being pretty good. Good roam
mean,
down
they
by the
knew
ace bowl.
They were trying to bait out the Zillion ult the best they can. Oh, this could be a gank onto Ornn.
Yeah, or no flash here. I don't really see a way you can get out of this one. Really good timing on the gank by Chow there, and I assume they're just going to give that over to Scott
Ooh.
Pilgrims. Plus 12.
Oh.
Oh, flashes forward. Thought he had the damage, and then just kind of already turned around. I don't know about that one. That's a little bit unfortunate.
That would have been
Finishes
really
flash
nice if
from
he ended
Smolder
up getting
there.
that kill, but
Yeah.
although this could be annoying, like
I mean, you know, they're kind of overstaying here. It's a little bit disrespectful. I feel like Asol's coming. Yeah, this should be 2 dead on the side of QC here. I'm not sure why they're choosing to stay here with the Asol with the roam potential.
oh,
He can just fly again if he wanted to at Braum. Looks like they're going to let Braum get out.
let me check the smolder stacks. I guess the stacks just really ramp up once you hit the 225 number. But this getting really close to that 225.
What's he at right now?
He was
sorry, I
at
missed it.
140, I think 3 now? 45.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I think he's stacking fairly well. I'm not going to say I know exactly, but...
So I think what could have been happening earlier. Oh wait,
Uh-oh,
Could be a
watch this
few-
horn roam down. Really smart roam down. They're kind of trapping this guy out. Now, granted, he does have the empowered blast cone he can use, but... Oh, Sarver's has to be a
Oh,
little bit careful, though.
I mean this should just be
I
a kill on a rat.
Think
now.
Rat's dead, yeah.
Oh.
Sarver's did a good job of not flying in and getting traded and plays it slow, picks up another kill. Really nice job by Camazotz to roam down there and kind of pinch Rat off and force him into that death.
I think, like I personally didn't know like what would happen if Aurelion, if Aurelion Soul ulted Mel. So that's what was kind of giving Sarv the benefit of the doubt. Like maybe he thought some weird reflect would happen.
I assume he knows the matchup. It's kind of annoying because so Mel can completely block the damage, obviously, but
But
it's not a
just blocking the
projectile in the
stun's
sense
good.
that there's any reflection. So she does actually get stunned, I'm pretty sure, but
Yeah, that's
doesn't-
what
doesn't
happened
take
there.
damage. Yeah, so you still get the stun. You still kind of set her up for your teammates, but can block out the damage. Looks like we're going to get some lane rotations. One Thief was actually able to pick up the first turret this game, which is really, really big for their comp again. I mean, to get first turret, to get those first 2 objectives, the kill feats did go over to QC, so it's going to come down to the objective feats to determine who ends up with the
This Braum could be caught. No
feats of
flash.
warfare. And yeah, I mean, against this team comp, if you're out of position, the slows, the rundown, it's very online for the side of One Thief, and I believe, yeah, if One Thief picks up this dragon, that will be the feats of, or the bounty, whatever it's called.
The feats of warfare or whatever.
That's the kill one.
Oh,
Feats of strength. Feats of strength. That's what it's called. Yeah. And that's another turret. I mean, 2-0 turrets
Ooh.
right now. Just a really nice bounce back from One Thief after game 1. But I do think Scott Pilgrims will be able to ultimately pick up this kill. Yeah.
mean-
Camazotz probably could have saved the flash there, but thought
He-
maybe he could get away.
he did get towers, so I mean I think you'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, he trades life for turret. Now, I do think this is going to be potentially a turret back for Nasus unless Sarvers chooses to like TP up here. Doesn't look like he's gonna do it. So it will ultimately be a 1-for-1 on the turrets with the kill going over to Scott Pilgrim. So I actually think that ends up being a little bit better for QC. Importantly though, I think Nasus's early game has been kept in check enough to the point where ASOL will be able to match him and do pretty well. And so I think, you're pretty happy if you're One Thief still on the game state. 500 gold lead in their advantage.
I wonder what's gonna happen though in this next little bit, because Otacon's about to come up, and I mean Jonah's he's pretty beefed right now. Like he should be really close on his next item. Like he's gonna be pumping out a lot of damage to this front line, and I don't really know how
Jonah
tanky.
is very strong.
I don't really know how tanky this Nautilus is gonna be, so you're gonna have to make sure that Nasus is here early. Really help like walk into a lot of these spells.
Yeah, I think if you're Qualmless chillers right now, your best avenue back in is going to be kind of finding a pick onto someone. I mean, you still have the Nautilus CC, so if Nautilus can like lock someone down long enough for both Braum and Mel to hit, I think you still have a ton of damage on that team comp. And it seems to be they're just kind of going with the repeat strategy of let's pick off this Ornn. And I do believe they're just going to get him again since he has no flash.
I mean, we do
Does
have the
dodge out the
smolder
hook.
in.
I mean, he's buying a little bit of time, but
Oh.
Zillion cannot get there in time, and ultimately, just another good pick. And I would like to see moving forward, One Thief do a little bit better of a job of respecting the fact that Camazotz is kind of exposed to the side. They're actually just going to choose to start up this objective. Critically, Camazotz does not have teleport. It will be 5v4 if Rat chooses to TP in. I don't know if you have to fight this if you're One Thief. You're getting close to that smolder breakpoint. You have 3 dragons to 0, but it looks like they don't want to give an objective up. Rat is looking for the TP top lane. He's going to be kind of on a flank here. Watch what Sarvers gets value with his ultimate. Oh, 3-man sleep.
Oh, Nautilus is dead. This could be a cleanup here.
Starv is still holding on to the ASOL ultimate. I'd like to see it get used here.
Oh, it went up. Oh, wow.
Oh my god, okay. Okay. He was okay. The reason he was holding it was because he was super close to the empowered ultimate version, and he got that like right when he needed it in the middle of that fight. That was really close. Yeah,
I mean,
that
and he was able to pick up the
out.
Otacon too. I think this game should entirely be in cruise control now for One Thief.
Yeah, I mean, you've got your scaling online with the ASOL and the Smolder. You've gotten all the objectives that you needed this game. You're rapidly approaching a Dragon Soul at 23.5 minutes. And, frankly, I don't even think One Thief played that fight as cleanly as they could, and it still ended up being really solid because Jonah found such a massive sleep that it let ASOL and Dave just kind of hit uncontested. So really good stuff. You're kind of seeing the vision of this team composition that One Thief has drafted. It's a lot harder for Aphelios to kind of go untouched in these fights. You're seeing it there. He's taking a lot more damage.
He did double up his deaths from last game.
Yeah, they've already killed Ribbon twice more than last game.
Oh, the Braum should be forced to flash over the wall here. Oh, nope, he just takes the death.
Just gonna die there. And that, 35 seconds on Soul. Braum will be coming up like right as it spawns. Maybe you try to run back. It is the Chemtech Soul, so it's not like the most impactful. Like if you're willing to say, we can give a Soul, maybe this is one you can give. At the same time, you're kind of starting to get outscaled. What is Qualmless Chiller's way back into this game? Perhaps it is just the Nasus split push threat. So, maybe you give this dragon and Nasus gets to take himself another tier 2 right here. That's really big. He uses the ultimate to secure that. And yeah, I think if you're Qualmless Chillers, that's probably your game plan here on out is let's just split push with Nasus and get items onto Aphelios and who knows what can happen. But
my big brain
again,
thought, you give over the Chem Soul and then you just fight at the Elder Dragon fight. Just give yourself 6 minutes and then just fight on that Elder Dragon spawn and maybe you can win the game there.
Yeah, I like your idea there. You know, I think that the X Factor champion for Qualmless Chillers come that Elder Dragons fight, who I'm looking at is the Nasus. You know, if Nasus can actually threaten Smolder or threaten Aesol to the point where they're not able to focus the Aphelios, I still think Aphelios could really shred through Ornn, could really shred through Lilia. So, you know, maybe just a ghosting Scott Pilgrim on the back
wow,
line
good just
could
the
do a
stun.
lot of work. Oh, but
Oh,
watch
big
Aesol here
flash in
coming
by
in huge
Jonah.
on the side. Double sleep.
We have
He's
a
got
big
the
Ornal coming
fight.
in on side too.
Watch the Ornn. Oh, he hits two.
And
And
oh,
yeah, this should be a wipe. I mean, Aesol can
big
just
flash from
continue to
Kamzats
fly at
too.
them, and that should be everybody.
Wow, right before the ulti goes off. I don't. Can they
you know,
end here, you think?
Live
Aesol's
alive.
basic.
It's maybe he does have TP if he wants to TP back. You know, there's potentially an end angle.
There's no
I
way.
think it's
it's
most
just
likely going to be an
just a
inhibitor and
Nash.
back out.
Nah,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
just
Nash is up. Yeah, just Nash makes sense. Yeah. Didn't see that was
midway
coming
during
up.
that fight though. The Smolder did hit 225, so it's finally fully scaled. And this Soul's on 3 items. This Soul is just beefed up for the rest of the game now too. I have liked how Jonah's been playing this game though. Jonah's been playing like pretty smart, getting the flash Q, getting a 3-man sleep. He's been
Yeah, I think Jonah straight up won that. Won the fight at the Otacon when they were down 4v5 with his engage with his big sleep. He finds another big sleep right there. He's generated a pretty massive farm lead in the jungle matchup, which is expected in the Nautilus, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, it's a really nice game out of him. He's actually opted for the Mage Eyes, really feeling himself this game on the Lilia. Has the Seeker's Arm Guard, so he's going to be really difficult to shut down. And yeah, I mean, just great stuff. You know, and Bean, you mentioned it earlier, Bean went for that Grasp of the Undying. He's also gone for like a straight tank Zillion build. I mean, he has Locket into the tier tank item, Fimble Winter, I believe it's called, maybe. Just
trying to see
super,
how much.
super tanky.
I don't know if there's a way to see how much he's gone from Grasp.
There is, if you click on him.
One.
And then you click that little, yeah.
Down 26 HP. Alright.
So, I'm not sure if Grasp is really... are you sure that wasn't 26 uses? I don't know. But...
Times used 13. Health gain
No,
26.
yeah, max health gain 26. Yeah, I think the tank build could work even with not Grasp if he wanted it to, but hey, he's 0-2 and 12, putting in work. Kamazot's fully in the bot lane right now. Dave just gonna ult to put some pressure onto the turret. And you still have pretty good wave clear on the side of QC with your Mel, but it's pretty difficult to defend a siege with Smolder on the enemy team.
They're slowly whittling away at this tower with this empowered cannon creep. Should eventually fall. I wonder if they do take the fight after.
Yeah, I mean, Sarvis is kind of sitting off on the side, like he's almost trying to hide off of vision. Maybe trying to bait QC to look for something, but I'm not sure if he wouldn't be doing more work just actually stepping up and putting his E down under the turret, personally.
Or even trying to push up mid wave and try and make them make a decision.
Yeah, definitely. The turret will go down on this next wave,
On this
though,
next siege.
without a doubt. There's the turret. Jonah's moving forward. Dave also flying forward. And that's just an execute.
Yeah, how much longer on this Nash? This Nash is about to run
Yeah,
out.
I get that it's like kind of an impossible angle to find a winning team fight, but at the same time, you know, Nala's dying with flash up, with ult up, just kind of getting slowly poked down. At some point, you got to pull the trigger and just say, you know, we're giving it our all. We're going for that final stand.
I mean, maybe
You know, if they don't manage to end here, you do still have his flash. You do still have Nala's ultimate for the Elder fight. But at this point, it's going to be difficult to even, you know, walk out into your jungle to even get near the Dragon Pit. That's going to be 3 turrets down, 2 inhibs down, and I believe one thief can just take their resets here and be back on the map with ample time to prepare for this Elder Soul, or an Elder Dragon.
See, how do we get the gold? Can I get gold up really quick? I just wanted to see if there was a way that Mel could get Rabadons before this fight, but I don't think that's gonna
I think if you
happen.
press X, you can see gold.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
so
chance that
Mel's
Mel's
sitting on
getting.
360 and not going to be able to get there. Asol's sitting on the Seeker's arm guard as well. It's going to take a miracle on the side of QC to be able to pull this fight out. You know, what I am looking at, I mentioned it earlier, you got to watch Scott Pilgrims. Maybe he can find some big value if he's able to ghost onto the back line here and kind of gets ignored. That's kind of what I'm looking at. Ribbons is 2.5 items, getting close to that third, but doesn't quite have it yet. Maybe Ribbons can really pump damage out if that's a good gun selection.
I mean, they're gonna be
But the Elder's
so
already
late.
started.
They're
Yeah,
gonna
they're
be so
so
late
late.
onto this. I think it's just gonna be dead unless the Nautilus, I mean, can find some weird way in.
I mean, he does have Flash. He can always
Oh.
find a way in with Flash.
Flash
Oh.
is a little early. I think now that
Yeah.
should be game.
Yeah, with the Elder Dragon picked up here, this should be a one thief closeout to tie up the series. I believe they can just run it down mid here. They've got the minion wave. And really, I mean, just a great bounce back performance by One Thief after a really solid QC game one. I mean, I think both teams kind of had moments in each game, but ultimately both wins were rather one-sided for the team that ends up pulling it out.
I just think this game was like super interesting. I mean, we could save it for an in-between game. Let's see if there's a way that Qualmless Chillers can clutch up here.
You know, it's possible. Yeah, he does have the green and white, pretty strong gun combination if he can get a switch to the green and blue. But with the Elder Soul and with Sarverse having the empowered ultimate here, the moment he chooses to drop that, if you're not in Fountain, you might just be dead. Let's see if they're going to go for it. You still have that ultimate on him. You still have Jonah's ultimate. Just playing it slow, playing it hesitant, waiting on their multiple waves. Hurts are
Powers
getting
just
so
slowly
close to
whittling down.
dropping. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a matter of time before Sarverse chooses to drop that button finally. There's oh, good Braum ult actually, or Braum shield to block the majority of that Smolder ult, but ultimately the
this is
Smolder
it.
is still just flash forwarding.
Oh
Q
my goodness.
finds both.
Oh, I mean, it doesn't matter. This game's over. You can say that Jonah forgot to press R and let Q flash. Oh, wait. They might be trolling a little bit. Wait, there's
They're
no
trolling
way.
a little bit, but I think
I
it's
think
not
it's
going to
over.
matter.
Oh, wait.
I think it's over. Wait!
Wait.
What? What? Oh my god, we're egoing on the side of One
We're
Thieves,
getting-
and
we're
that is
getting a-
just a
We're getting a
Holy
week one
ego.
fiesta.
oh my goodness. Really good. Wait, the Orc's
Wait,
still
wait,
alive.
wait, the
They
Orc's
can't kill him. Is he just gonna end? Oh my, what the hell? Cinema.
I thought they just threw the whole game for a second. Well, not the whole game, but
I mean, I think they would have still been in a fine position, but they definitely had a little too much fun diving the turret instead of just hitting. And you saw once again, Ribbons kind of got to hit untouched for a team fight and did a lot of damage, but the Orn came through. So great bounce back by One Thief that game to make it a 1-1 series with really, I have no idea what's going to happen in game 3, and that's kind of how you like it.
Oh, I crashed my Discord. Yo, my fault, gang. Yo, sorry for cutting off your y'all. Hold on, we'll be fixed in 1 second. Sorry.
Let's go for this second game.
Yo, my fault, gang. Where is the draft link? There is no draft link.
Thanks yet. So
Don't worry, the
As we
stream
kind of
didn't
wrap
die.
up this second game, what were you thinking as far as MVPs this time around, PB?
See, like, I did low key like the Jonah game, like a lot. Like, obviously, like Sarv had like all the frags and stuff.
Yeah. I thought Jonah played a really good game.
I did
wouldn't.
sneaky like how Jonah played. I feel like Jonah did a lot for the game,
I
and I
think he
didn't.
found a lot of setups, especially at that Otacon, because I feel like the Otacon was the opportunity for Qualmless Chillers to kind of retake some momentum in that game. They found a really good pick onto Camazotz, and it was a 4v5 fight, but Jonah just really set his teammates up well that fight, and you saw how close it was ultimately, and I think if Lilia hadn't played that fight in particular so well, I think that game could have gotten a little scarier for their team comp. You also then subsequently saw that great team fight he had in mid lane where he hit multi-man sleep, secured all the objectives in the early game. I would have no trouble giving it to Jonah this time around, but I do think everyone played well on the side of One Thief.
Look, I am a little missed right now. There's no draft links. Please,
Yeah,
please help me out. Make some links.
Not too sure what we're waiting on.
I can't leak though. In DMs right now, Bean is very much making fun of me because originally in the casting chat I said it's gonna be 2-0 Qualmless Chillers, but sure, I did go on record. I said I changed my mind to 2-1 One Thief.
You did. You did. You
So
changed it as
Bean
the
can't.
series was starting.
I can't be Beans up. Now, one thing I did want to say from like the last game was that they really set up in this game that it would be more of a scaling game because that's kind of how they acted in game one, but they didn't play like they were scaling. Like they were very active around the map and doing stuff, which I think was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
They were actually like
Yeah,
very
I
active,
like
being very
the-
proactive.
I think One Thief had a really good game plan this time around, and I think they played around it well, as you were just saying.
I do think one thing that definitely like hindered Qualmless Chiller's ability was they didn't really have their map pack that they had last game, where you're getting deep wards from Braum at level 1, when Scott Pilgrims is going for the that proxy, he was able to get 2 wards to really help track Jonah. Like, I definitely think their vision setup was a little bit worse, but I mean,
Yeah,
hopefully they can
I
keep
think
up
that's
their
a good
confidence.
point. I think that's a really good point by you, actually. And I'd like to talk about that. I want to first say that I thought Camazotz played a much
Yes,
better
that
game
too.
this time around
Camazotz
on the
played very
Ornn.
well that game.
So really big shout out to him. To Scott Pilgrim's credit, he still found some solo kills. He got solo killed himself this time. But even with Scott Pilgrims, I would say playing the 1v1 well, even when Camazotz died, it was always at Nasus's turret. Camazotz was constantly the one that was pushed up in the lane, and it just absolutely prevented Nasus from getting any of that same type of map pressure as you were just referencing. He wasn't getting that deep vision. He wasn't proxying the wave. And I think that really hurt QC from game one, where they had all that extra pressure, they had all that vision information, and it made it a lot easier for them to kind of keep Jonah in check. This time around, um, even though Scott Pilgrims is still playing pretty well, he's stuck under his turret, and it let Jonah kind of get to roam the map with a little bit less information on where he was, and I think he kind of used that element of surprise really well this game. So, as we get prepared for game three, what are you thinking? I'll quickly say what I'm looking at is, the Aphelios got left up. We questioned it. Now it's 1-1. I wouldn't be surprised if they just choose to let him have it again a third game. They clearly felt like the Smolder was a good answer into it. If you're the side of QC, do you consider banning the Smolder? I don't think you have to consider banning a Soul. That came through as a specific counterpick to the Mel, in my opinion. But maybe you consider banning out Smolder instead of one of those other 380 carries that you chose to ban in the first phase. If I'd also like to see Scott Pilgrims on a champion that has a little bit more pressure in the early game. Now, to be fair, Cho'Gath isn't exactly an early game monster either. He just happened to dominate that 1v1. If he's going to blind pick Ornn again, I'd like to see you just run the Cho back. Maybe consider that. The Nautilus, to me, I thought in game one it was a bit of a passenger, and I thought in game two it just didn't really do much. I'd like to see them put jungle on something a little bit different this game. Maybe something with a little bit more. I don't want to know. I don't know. I want to say a little bit more ability to do stuff, but at the same time, you're playing Nautilus. What that champion ganks a ton if he wants to. But I don't know if I don't know if Chow is looking as comfortable on the Nautilus as you might expect. I feel like they're kind of prioing it due to the flex potential and maybe just their read that it's a strong jungler. I'd consider maybe seeing if you can get Chow on something he looks a little bit more comfortable on this time around.
So a lot of your comments that you made on like that game, I don't know if the roster tool is bugged, but I think we might be seeing a roster change coming up from Qualmless Chillers.
Okay, what are you thinking?
Well, I'm looking at the draft tool, and I just want to confirm first before like I generate assets and stuff because it got updated in the thing. Okay, yeah, it did get updated. So we have Chow top now. We have Drakkar coming in. There's Alec, Kage, and Lelouch. I don't know how to say that one.
Okay, so they're choosing to take out both Rat and taking out Scott Pilgrims. Interesting. They're choosing to bring Jakar in. I think that's an interesting adaptation. Your Jonah had played really well that second game, and now you're bringing in Drakkar, who many people are considering, the best jungler in the server. That's what I've been hearing. So you're kind of bringing him in to say, hey, let's keep Jonah in check. Chow's going back to what I think top lane. I'm pretty sure top lane's like his main role, so maybe he's a little bit more comfortable that way. And the fact that they're choosing to bring these subs in mid-series tells me most likely that their lineup the first two games was strategy. Like they thought that running this Scott Pilgrim's lineup would be a better matchup into one thief. Perhaps they identified what we kind of identified that Camazotz is going to be kind of the weak side player, the player that maybe you can pick on. And it kind of worked game one, but game two it didn't. Maybe now they're thinking, okay, let's bring Drakkar in. Let's go for a little bit more of perhaps an aggressive jungle style. I don't think we're going to see Drakkar playing Nautilus. Not that I doubt he could play it, but I think bringing in Alec and bringing in Drakkar is saying we're going to play aggressive and we're going to try to dominate the mid jungle 2v2. And that's kind of exciting if you ask me. Alec versus Sarv should be entertaining. I think Rat's a really good mid laner. I also think Alec's a really good mid laner. I've played against Alec as well a couple times, and I believe if I'm right, I think Alec's like favorite pick is LeBlanc, but I don't know if he's gotten to play it in server yet. Maybe it's like one time. He also has a really good Azir. And I think he's also played Aurora and done pretty well. But definitely, I think his Azir is a champion that I'm going to be looking out for here. Or perhaps if Sarv's willing to take the Syndra, maybe he'll get his LeBlanc. But I think draft strategy obviously has to completely change because, they were banning all Scott Pilgrim and all Rat. Both those players are out now. I assume you're going to see some bans thrown at your car. Shoot, Ribbons and Paul Lim are out too. So it's four new players. The only player that's still in the game is Chow.
I still don't know like a lot of these Qualmless Chillers players, so like I don't know what
Yeah,
their new draft
I've
strategy
not
is going to be.
seen. I thought Kage was more of a support player. I've not actually seen him play AD carry yet, so I don't really know what to expect there. I've not seen Lelouch play, and I know Chow, I believe, is a tank top laner, so I expect we'll kind of see tank into tank. Um, So we might see the Ornn again. Maybe he looks to steal the Ornn, but I expect we see a tank v tank top. Jakar is an absolute beast. I expect we'll see him go for carry, a carry champion. Alec, like I said, probably going to end up on the Azir, maybe the LeBlanc. Um, And now you look at the champions to watch for Lelouch. He's 3-0 on the Tarek. That's pretty interesting. And Kage seems to kind of favor the Ash. But all our questions will be answered shortly as teams
We
are
got
about to
2
pull up to the
minutes until
draft.
draft.
And I do think it's interesting that the Scrim Zone bot is highlighting the key matchup as the mid lane. I'm looking at that as well. You know, I have a lot of respect for both Alec and Rat. I think I haven't played against either of them very much, but I think the general consensus is probably Rat's a higher ranked player, so maybe you're thinking he's a little bit stronger. I don't say that to diminish Alec in any way, but I'd like to see if Sarv can maybe have a little bit more of his way there. At the same time, the jungle's definitely favoring QC this time around with Jakar being in. So we'll see. I'm hoping we get something a little spicier in mid this time around. The Asol Mel, a little bit boring if you ask me. So hopefully we get something a little spicier. But we're in draft now. They have
Well, they
gone ahead
press
and
start.
started it.
What? They started early.
Yeah, they did. They did. So far, QC is keeping the same bans. Oh, they've chosen to still ban Kiana. I'm not sure if someone else plays Kiana on that team or if they thought it was Rat still in. I
Well,
assume they
Kiana
know the
jungle
roster.
is.
So
I think I've heard Kiana's jungle is pretty strong in this patch, and Ricard kind of likes
okay.
his assassin, so that does make sense why they've been.
Yeah, but so it's a straight up triple ban against Dave and a triple ban against Jakar. Um, I like the first pick Ornn from Camazotz. You've shown you like it. You survived against Scott Pilgrim's last game, who I believe is a much higher rank than Chow, and I assume Chow's just going to go tank v tank. So I like the idea that you just take your Ornn, you take your comfort pick if you're Camazotz, and you're going to run with it. Poppy is a good pick. It can be played into the Ornn. It can obviously be like triple flexed, but I like the Poppy answer a lot. What I also see is, the Syndra is still open. I think Starburst will probably be a little bit hesitant to pick the Syndra on 3 because I think Alec would just automatically slam LeBlanc. And then as someone that enjoys both those champions, I think it is pretty LeBlanc favored. So I wouldn't expect to be surprised if Starburst pick falls. You'll probably see Dave answer AD carry here. What's he looking at? Smolder is open again. Sivir's not exactly a high range character. Maybe you think Smolder would be good here again. Maybe you want to go for something a little more aggressive early.
I mean,
Not
Alistair's
too
a really
sure.
good support into Silver. I don't know if Bean plays Alistair though. Oh,
Yeah, I'm
the
not sure if
Smolder
I've
again.
seen Bean's Alistar. I mean, you have the Smolder, and potentially you could just consider taking the Zillion again. I mean, Lelouch's most played, or at least what was showing on the stats,
Oh,
was
was Tarek,
Tarek,
yeah.
and I think you'd be happy with Zillion into Tarek, so wouldn't be too surprised if Bean just doesn't choose to slam it. Now, at the same time, I think holding Bean's pick till later also could be really valuable. But at the same, I don't know. You can't give Bean, Sarv, and Jonah all counter picks. Somebody has to blind pick. I'm probably okay. That's Neferi jungle most likely, I think. Um, I
Like
know Jonah's been playing that pick some and been enjoying it, but it is definitely a flex pick.
Alec into
And
their
that's
Azir?
Alex's ear. I assume Alec will ban away Syndra. I think Syndra is a good matchup into Azir. I don't think you want to give Sarverus that. But otherwise, I think
Well,
you're
they
probably
banned
pretty happy
Zillion.
with
They're
the Azir.
scared.
They are. I think that's smart. I mean, I think Zillion again into this comp would be really, really good. They chose that they wanted the Neferi Prio uh, overtaking the Zillion, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to be curious to see, do they hold last pick for support or for jungle on the side of QC? Probably jungle. Maokai ban coming through. I wouldn't expect Drakkar to play Maokai, so maybe they think it's, Poppy's going somewhere else. And I think Chow enjoys Maokai top, if I'm not just like making that up out of my head.
A little Lulu
Yeah,
band?
Mason's talking about a mispronunciation. Give me like the phonetic spelling, please.
Yeah, that's I just don't know. We didn't watch Code Geass, my guy. Unless you did. I know I didn't.
I'm gonna be real. I don't even really know what that is. I just know it's an anime. Asol Band comes through. So there, if I'm Starverse here, I'm slamming Syndra. Like, I think Syndra is really good into his ear. It's
Ooh,
probably like a skill
Nico
matchup
support.
technically. Ooh,
Ooh.
it could potentially
Ooh.
be a Silas angle here now because you have the Nico ult steal, which would be really good. Silas can play into his ear pretty well, but I'm looking probably still at the Syndra. Um,
Look,
that's
I'm
what I
willing
would
to take some
consider
notes
main
here. I don't know how
star.
to play Nico support yet.
I think it's just you spam your W and permanently have BS vision, and then you just flash R in team fights. I
Okay,
don't
I'm
know if it's
gonna
that
be honest. I
complicated.
don't know how to do that bug. Well, feature now.
It's not even a bug. It's just you spam W on
It was
cooldown.
a
But
bug, and it's like it's featured. Oh,
they are really struggling to pick, and we actually have a miss pick, so it will be a 5v4. Just kidding. They can type something in chat. Um, they haven't done it yet, though. Joe's typing
Lelouch.
now. It's Rel, so they took all that
Rel.
time to decide
Hmm.
on Rel. It's
Hmm.
Lelouch. Thank you, Taxi. I appreciate that.
It is a rel.
So it's
And
Rel with
Syndra.
Smolder, and it is the Syndra. Yeah, I think you kind of had to have Syndra come through
Hmm.
here. It's Sarverus' best champ. Let's be real. It's normally banned. They've chosen to give it to you. It's a good matchup into Azir. I think taking anything else would be trying to get too fancy. So glad to see him take that. And what is Drakkar gonna go for?
The world?
Viego's
He can go
open.
anything.
I don't know all of his champs, but he kind of has the pick of the litter here.
Oh, you're right. Let's
And
go
it's the
Viego.
Viego. Damn, I'm spot on with that. Jakar has a really good Viego. I've personally played on his team when he was playing it, but at the same time, it's not exactly like a dream Viego spot in my opinion.
It's
I don't think Azir's typically like the mid laner I would prefer to play with Viego. It's not saying it can't work, but it's not typically what I would expect as kind of like your traditional pairing. Typically, if you're playing Viego, you prefer your mid laner to have a lot of burst, so something more like the Syndra. When I played with Jakar, I played the Zoe, and that's a very strong burst pairing. Um, but I don't know. Jakar's really good on Viego, and Alec is really good on Azir, so I'm not going to doubt them for a second that they can make it work. Um, and
I
you do have if Azir's ever able to find a shuffle, you kind of have Viego there to just scoop you up, kind of clean you up right there.
I do kind of want to comment on the rel pick from Bean. This
Okay.
game for rel can be pretty annoying. Like just getting random knockup by Nico could really cancel your W. It's somewhat difficult sometimes to get into Sivir, especially post 6 with R. And just Poppy is just such a strong like rel counter. But I mean, it's not impossible to play rel this game. It's just going to be very difficult and very annoying.
Yeah. Okay, we're looking at champ matchups and pretty even across the board outside of Sivir absolutely body and Smolder in one game, but mid lane matchup pretty even. I think it's Syndra favored matchup, but as always, your champ's weak to engage and a good Azir shuffle can get you killed. Um, let's see what else. Champions to watch. Hey, it's both mid laners on their champion to watch. And it's the featured matchup. I mean, just what a banger matchup. I'm really looking at mid lane to kind of decide this game 3. I kind of question. We'll see how the player swap outs work, but I'm going to say right now, seeing a team swap out 4 players in the middle of a series is not something you usually see in Scrim Zone. I mean, teams have subs and they use them, but if that this is unorthodox, I would say. So I'm excited to see what kind of new look, what kind of extra spice are they able to kind of bring to this game. Perhaps if all 4 of these players have been sitting in comms watching the series so far and discussing it together, maybe they have a kind of a read or an idea of how they can attack the strategy that One Thief has shown in the first 2 games.
Although one thing about like these kind of series, like this is Qualmless Chiller's first series. One thing I think is very hard is coming off like cold. Like you're coming into this game and you haven't played a single game yet. I mean,
Yeah.
they've probably been playing like arenas or something before this game, but it's very difficult to come into the third game. Like it's gonna be interesting to see how everyone plays, like especially in the early game of this game.
Definitely a good point. Some maybe you can kind of argue they're coming in fresh. It's kind of mentally draining to have already played 2 games if you're on the side of One Thief. But at the same time, Personally, I'd rather be on the side that's just played 2 games.
I'd
I
rather
think
play 2 games.
you're really in that mindset of, a competitive match. So yeah, I think that's a good point. It will be curious to see, does QC come in just firing right on all cylinders, or does it look a little bit slow to get started? Um, we look at the team comps overall. I don't necessarily like favor the scaling on one side over the other. I think both sides scale pretty hard. Um,
I think
yeah,
I'd rather be.
I
I
don't
think it'd rather
know.
be One Thief. For
Yeah,
me,
I think One Thief does scale harder, but I don't know. If I'm looking at who to watch on each side, Sarveris for One Thief, gotta watch him. I think he's on his best champ. He's playing in a good matchup. Granted, he's playing against Alex, one of his best champs, so it should be close. But I'm looking at Sarveris. Obviously, if you're QC, I think you're lying to yourself if you say if you're looking at anyone but your car. I mean, this is the player that you've been hearing nonstop about. This is a team that was power ranked both first and second on the podcast by um, our lovely podcasters, Dean and Mason. It's a
lovely
team that
podcaster.
it's a
We'd
team
include
that's
Mason in
been kind
there.
of ranked highly just in general sentiment from what I've heard around the league. And in large part, I think that's been due to Jakar. I've just been hearing nothing but great stuff about him. Haven't played with him. I think he's an impressive player. He has what stands out to me is not only his individual, mechanics, but the games that I was playing with him, he was taking a very big burden of the shot calling. And so, maybe he comes in this third game, you kind of have a new shot caller, you're kind of able to strategize maybe a little bit better. We can see if I'm sure their early game will look a little bit more directed than perhaps it did the last game. And yeah, I'm looking 100% at Jakar. What can he get done on this Viego? This is a carry champion. Yeah, it's going to be fun to see.
Now, I will comment. I think I played against him once in Bilgewater, but I didn't count those games. I wasn't really paying attention. Like Alex and Blake were getting drunk out of their minds, so those games didn't count. The only time I've like really played against Drakkar was him on mid lane, and he put in a really solid mid lane performance. I'm really interested to see how well he plays in jungle because I haven't played with him and I haven't played against him in jungle yet.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I think Drakar's one of those players that can just play most champs, like just pretty well. I mean, anytime a player is able to hit masters, I think they have a good enough understanding of the game to where, you can put them in any role and they'll do pretty well. But without a doubt, this guy is a jungler. He's a scary jungler. You've seen he's already played 37 champs in the server with just 61 games
what?
with a 4 KD. So the guy has a champion ocean. He's 3-1 on the Viego with a 6.18 KD. I mean, his Kane's been pretty much permanently banned. So of the champions he's actually been able to play, I think Viego has looked the scariest. He's also had a really good Zed, but I mean, you just look at the Viego stats. He's 3-1. The champion overall without him is 6-5. So a lot more even with a 2 KD. So Viego's always one of those champs where I think if the right player has it in his hands, can make it look a lot scarier than the average player. But yeah, it's gonna be fun to see. And I don't entirely know how the 1v1's supposed to go against Viego Nefiri early game, but I do know that Drakkar knows how it's supposed to go, and if it allows him to play aggressively in the enemy jungle, he will do that. He's a player that will look for invades, will look to get that farm advantage 1v1, and will look to play his matchup to the limit. So I think this game, all eyes kind of got to be on Drakar's early pathing, early how he plays this early game, and yeah, I'm just really excited to see it.
Can I actually change my mind on my prediction? It's 2-1. Gonna be Qualmless Shillers.
I'm not gonna let. Well, you can change your mind, but I'm gonna
Bean,
judge you
why
because
do you have
changing your
Guardian?
mind like 2 times is crazy.
Nope.
Pick something and stick
Nope.
with it.
Bean went Guardian on Rel. This Rel is gonna be pretty useless once Rel W's in. It's gonna be wraps. This is a Qualmless Shillers win.
One thing I'd like to see is game one, Sarvers went for like the burn build on Syndra, which I know the guy pretty well. I think that's just his preferred build. I personally like the burst build on Syndra more. And against I don't really consider Poppy to be that tanky of a tank. Against five, what I'd say more squishy champions, I'd really like to see him just go for that kind of one pop Ludens, Shadow Flame, Syndra build, especially when you have something like the Nefiri that can kind of just you can work together to really just burst people out. So we'll see. 5-point across the board. No early vision for either team. Oh, Jonah does walk up and get that ward, and Viego doesn't have sweeper, so that will stay. They do spot out Viego. Have a pretty good idea where he's starting. It looks like he will just do a Raptors start.
I mean, I think you're probably right on the build. Like, I think he is just gonna opt into like the burst build because the first game it was because there's a Braum, there's a Nautilus, there's a Warren. Like, you have to.
I think he will, but I will say, like, I've almost never seen him do it. Like, I think he just does prefer the burn build, but I think without a doubt the burst one's better this game. So I'm curious to see what he goes for. The early game, the early lane, I think Azir can do pretty well in. He has the much more consistent damage than the Syndra. It's once Syndra kind of gets, I'd say, that 40 wither point to where she has like the empowered Q and can kind of just spam spells on you. I think that's the point of the matchup where it kind of becomes more Syndra favored. Jakar, that's dirty, man. He starts his Raptors and automatically goes for the steal. And, he's able to do it because, I'm sure Jonah thinks he's on his red right now, but I believe that must have been Alec on the Azir that walked up and got that vision on the Raptors. And, that's just, man, that's dirty. And this is going to feel really bad for Jonah because even if he notices this out, I don't know if he's going to be allowed to go for some counter invade in the top side with the priority that Azir has.
That was really...
And he's spotted it out right now. Oh, man. He's over. Realizes it's gone. Realizes the red is gone.
I mean, it's just such a smart idea. Trick him with the ward that you put on the Raptors pit. Think, hey, he's just going to do the full top clear. Just say, nope, I'm just going to take the Raptors back.
And I think that's what teams are going to realize pretty quickly. Like, Jakar will go for invades. And, there wasn't any counter vision by One Thief to match that out. I'm not sure where Syndra put her first ward, but had she had that ward on the Raptors, or at least on the entrance to the jungle, maybe then Jonah could have counter invaded the red or something. But just really nice by Jakar.
I do wonder, Jonah is definitely going to try and go for the double crab here. I wonder if Jakar tries to do anything on the top crab, or if he just wants to collect the other two camps that he's missing at top.
It's a little bit difficult because, Camazotz is low, but he does have the priority, so it would be a little bit hard for Poppy to walk over. Perhaps Camazotz takes a reset here, and Jakar's just not even going to contest the crab. His Raptors are about to respawn. Well, he's walking up trying to see if he could, I guess, but he'll realize that's gone, and I assume he'll just go back and farm his top side.
I do wonder what Jakar's choice is here. Does he go back to farm the red, or does he do his Raptors and try to do another invasion?
I would think you got to take the red at this point. I'm no expert jungler by any means, but I would think he wants to grab his red. No, he does not.
I think he's going back for the Raptors.
Straight for the Raptors. This is why I'm not a jungler. This is some Giga Chad behavior. And
although I think Bean knows. Bean decides, hey, I'm going to drop the Gromp. I'm going to go down.
Yeah, they're going to run into each other this time, and it's even levels on even levels here. No, it's actually... Wait, is he one level up? I really can't see.
Stun on Sarv.
And they use the vision to spot him out this time, and okay, that's a much nicer punish by the side of One Thief. Oh my goodness. Very, very close, but yeah, that time Sarv had the vision, came and helps his jungler out, and that ends up just kind of wasting some of Drakar's time, so much better. Now, I will say, Camazotz, if you don't back here, you're just giving Drakar first blood. Jonah kind of is smart enough to sniff this out, but I'm not sure if he can get there in time before the first blood comes through. Poppy has flash. If you want to stun, you stun. And yeah. Maybe Jonah can pick one back up. But yeah, I mean. Oh!
Really well played by Bean. Although I do think Dave could probably die here.
Oh, no, he has the barrier, and Kage recognizes that. But yeah, I mean, nice job by Drakar to get the first blood, but to be fair, that's entirely thanks to Chow, just absolutely kind of dominating that 1v1 early game, setting up a freebie for his jungler, and getting first blood onto Drakar, pretty massive. You do get the kill back bot lane. Unfortunately, it went on to Rel, even though Dave flashed forward. But you do get that kill. You got a little bit of a farm advantage on Smolder. And based on how well your Smolder did last game, I think you're pretty happy with how this early game has gone.
So I wish
Syndra, yeah, go ahead.
I wish I did have jungle like timers up because I'm really just interested to see how they play around like Jonah's Raptors. I wonder if the card does just keep trying to opt into trying to invade. I don't know, like, so from this point on through the mid matchup, will Sarvers just pretty much have permashove, or will it be like?
Yeah, I think once you have the Lost Chapter on the Syndra, he should kind of control the lane from here on out. It becomes difficult for Azir to ever walk up and kind of threaten if Sarvers is using his stun well. So
Ooh,
yeah, I
stun
think at this
to
point it starts
Lulu?
to favor mid. That's
Oh,
big
but a
damage
nice
on him.
stun.
Yeah, the root should keep him alive there, but you're kind of seeing the power of Beam. Like you talked about, it could be a little bit of annoying to play, but it seems like he just does not care and is just running at them anyway.
I do think it's just a lot of the annoying parts will just come in like the team fights. Like right now, there's nothing that Nico can do to counter the Rel. It's not until there's like a whole lot of knockups from like the Nico ult, the push by Azir. Like that's when it's gonna get annoying. But right now, Rel can kind of do whatever she wants.
Playing so aggressive. I mean, I do like to see it. He does have ult here. I guess the concern is if he Rs, Poppy just ults him away. But, you know, once again, it's the Smolder team comp getting dragons early. Yeah, you see right there, Sarvers can start to just look for these little chip trades. The only thing Sarvers has to be careful for is getting shuffled into Viego.
Wow, that's to burn his flash. He will live, but
Gets a little bit lucky there. I mean, the fact that he didn't flash the initial knockup, if
Smolder-
Drakar's a little bit...
Wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah, if Drakar's a little bit more on point with that W follow-up, I think Sarvers just dies. So he got a little bit lucky that he had that split second to flash away. And yeah, you see it though. Like, that's what I'm talking about. And now he doesn't have flash for the next play. And as soon as Azir has ult back up, I expect we'll see Drakar.
one thing that was kind of interesting to see before he ended up going for grubs here, I do think Drakar kind of had an angle where he could just walk in and try and take blue. I mean, he still has the option to go and do that, but he doesn't.
They do
really
have the
know.
knowledge that he's on grubs now, but I think he's just a little bit concerned. I mean, you know, he recognized that they've already rotated to him once, and yeah, I guess Ornn has no mana, but at the same time, Ornn is right by his turret, and if you happen to run into Fury and Ornn collapses, Syndra collapses, you know, it could be dangerous for him. I think he's just being a little bit careful.
I mean, Jonah's just being smart. Like Jonah is actually taking the time to be proactive and take away the blue from Drakar.
Yeah, that's
And he won't
actually
actually
you're
lose
right.
anything for it.
It's a really good job by Jonah to recognize that he can find that invade. And there's a lot of hype about Drakar, but like let's not forget that Jonah has historically been one of the best junglers in the server. I mean, he won a season as
As an
jungler.
MVP a season.
He won an MVP as a jungler. I mean,
I mean,
this
that was
is a
during the
guy
black
that
and white era,
historically-
but
yeah, I mean hey, the season win was not black and white era. The season win, Jonah was a huge contributor to that Andromeda team that won the championship, in large part due to his ability to facilitate the early games and to set up for his carries. And I think you're seeing the same here. With the carry pick himself, though, on the Neferi, I'm not entirely sure what build he'll go for. I think he's first building an Eclipse. Probably go for like the Black Cleaver kind of bruisery Neferi build we've seen.
wait.
But uh-oh. We didn't
Oh,
count the minions. Oh, that's so lucky, but okay.
wow.
Oh my god, that damage! Okay. Ultimately, that's a really good roam by Nico. Because Sarvers didn't have flash after the last play, despite the fact that he did a good job not getting hit by the Nico ult, the shuffle still comes in. You have Drakar there, and I really like that macro movement by the side of QC to shut down the Syndra, get a kill onto him. Almost trades back Azir. I mean, Azir has to blow flash just to live, but really good job punishing the flash, and now that's 2-1 kills for the side of QC.
I do. One thing that was like, it caught me off guard because I wasn't even counting the minions myself. Like, and the spectator didn't even like show that Nico was in the wave.
Yeah, I find personally when I play against Nico, it's one of those things where they usually get you once in the game, and then you're like, okay, I got to count from here on out.
I always just do the tab thing where I'm just spamming tab and seeing if Nico's portrait's glowing. Because if Nico's portrait's glowing, that means she's somewhere on the map. You don't know where, but she's just somewhere, again, ready to troll you.
So Sarvers did actually opt for that build that I was hoping he would. Has gone for the Ludens. Just completed that item. You'll see a lot of chunk onto the Azir if he's ever able to hit those combos. And now, Azir doesn't have flash. I would really like to see Jonah, look for a play onto this Azir while he's flashless, in the same way that Drakar's been looking for those plays.
I think the fight though is gonna be around this drag. It's coming up in about a minute. The Rel is gonna have ulti up. I don't know if when Smolder bases if he'll have enough for ER, but I definitely think they're gonna try and make it a point that it's a 4v4 fight here. Especially Nefiri's also on full eclipse. Like this Nefiri is gonna be pretty strong for this fight. Or they might just not fight at all, considering that Viego won't have his item yet.
Yeah, it'll be
He's taking
interesting
his
to
base
see.
now, so he'll have it. But they'll be late walking in.
Yeah, critically, Azir did just complete the Nashor's Tooth, which is a really big power spike for him. He has ultimate to kind of peel himself if the Nefiri dives, but without flash, if that stun hit, that would probably just been a full chunk, if not a kill, but barely misses that. Ricard just got the Triforce. That's a huge power spike on the Viego as well. Not a completed item yet on either AD carry, but kind of just seeding the positioning on this objective is the side
Although
of
there
one
is being on a flank, you can get a really nice R here. Hits on 3. Wow, huge combo. And Nico gets
wow.
bursted.
Yeah, they
Maybe
killed
Azir's
Nico
next,
before
we
he
have a
even
TP from
used the
Poppy coming
ultimate.
in. Oh, the shuffle misses. Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
This Poppy should slowly fall, but I wonder how
Oh,
Jakar plays here.
watch Ricard.
Wow, he didn't get the kill.
No, and
flash,
now he's
Jakar's
just going to
dead.
get chased down now.
Wow.
And that's Beats of Warfare.
And another drag, too.
Really, really good engage by Bean. I mean, he gets onto both Jakar and Lelouch, I believe. And Lelouch, excuse me. And, the Nico not being able to use ultimate, I mean, that's massive. Like, I think Nico's going to have to position a little bit better in future fights because, if Nico's able to get the ultimate off while they have flash, like, onto a Syndra who was flashless, like, I think that fight could have looked a lot different, but really decisive engage by one Thief, and, I mean, that's just a great fight for them, and they ended up getting their second dragon of the game.
And look, I don't want to...
As well as the Feats of Warfare.
I don't want to say nothing about the thing that I was saying before the game started. Oh, wait, there might be a gank onto Azir here. Oh,
Yeah, I
he
mean,
blocks
he
the dash.
doesn't
I
have-
think he should die. Maybe? Gonna be a little close.
It's going to be close. Jonah can still flip the aggro, and, yeah.
Wait, but
Watch
your
your
car's in the area.
But not able to get there in time. Really nice job by Jonah to block the Azir dash. So even though the Syndra stun didn't land, because he doesn't have flash, because he doesn't have ultimate on the Azir, as soon as his dash got blocked, I mean, they just have the ability to run him down. And I mean, if you're one Thief right now, you've got your two carries in really, really good position. Sarvers is super comfortable on his best champ. Dave looked so good on Smolder last game, and he's once again deathless right now and farming really well. Where are we at stack-wise on Smolder this game?
We at 101. No
I
thieves.
think that's similar to where he was last game, which seemed to be a pretty good pace at which he was stacking. So yeah, I mean, I think you're really happy if you're one Thief right now. Now, if you are QC, I definitely don't think you're like out of this game by any means. But what I need to see them find is people setting up for Jakar, whether it's Nico finding another good roam, like when Nico hit on that minion wave earlier, or whether it's Azir kind of roaming with him as you see right now.
I think this might be the play, but I mean, the Nefiri W is pretty strong.
It's so hard to actually, I think, play the Viego into the Nefiri as I'm seeing it kind of up close and personal right there, because the Nefiri dogs will frequently just automatically block the Viego W. And, I didn't consider that earlier, but it's going to make it pretty hard for him to ever find a stun onto Jonah.
Oh, it looks like we might be setting up for a huge dive in this bot lane here. They're just going to give the Rift Herald on this side, hey, we're just going to dive these two, man.
Yeah, I think this is really smart by the side of one Thief. Now, whether or not they can pull it off is a different question. You have all sums up, you have all ultimates up on the side
Oh,
of
wow.
QC, but they completely give up the turret positioning and just
they wasted Nico
gonna
ult,
go
too.
down. Sivir gets out, has to burn Flash. Oh, Lelouch burns Flash and does end up ultimately going down. Overall, a pretty nice dive by the side of One Thief. Now, credit to Qualmless Chillers. They take that turret, and one thing I've noticed about this team is they're very good at recognizing where the cross map is. They immediately run mid. They get that turret. They haven't even used the Rift Herald yet. And yeah, so they get the mid turret without even having to use the Rift Herald. They'll have that up for another play. And, ultimately you get bot turret, but that's first turret to the side of QC and mid. And, I mean, mid turret's always the most valuable. I think that's pretty understood. So, pretty good trade by them overall.
I mean, I'm just going to be really interesting to see, like, the Nico for the rest of the game, because, I mean, Nico's has used 2 ults so far. Like, the one on mid didn't really get too much out of it, because it got pushed away before it can knock up Sarv. Didn't even get to use it on, like, the dragon fight, the second one, and the Nico ulti didn't really knock anyone up on the dive. So I kind of wonder how much value the Nico's going to get for the rest of the game. It's just been really hard, it seems like, so far for Nico to kind of do anything. But I mean, all
Yeah,
Nico
I
has
think
to
they've
do
done
is
a
hit.
really, yeah.
All
You're
Nico
right.
has to do
All
is
they have
hit
to do
one.
that one ult. Yeah, and that's true, but they've done a very good job of marking the Nico so far. The only kind of, I'd say, super positive play Nico has found was that engage mid, where they were kind of pretending to be a mid.
Oh, wow!
Oh,
what
that's a
is
huge shuffle onto both the carries! And that's exactly what you're looking for, and that is exactly what Qualmless Chillers needed. Oh my goodness. I mean, I wasn't even really paying that much attention to the map state, so I'm not sure how Dave and Sarvers ended up being so far away from Jonah and Bean, but absolute snap engage by Alec on the Azir. That is what this guy can do. He's shown it time and time again. Finds the flash ult, sets up for the Viego, and that's exactly what you needed. And Qualmless Chillers has taken the gold lead, and they're about to get some more damage down mid with the Rift Herald. Game is dead even now.
I've really liked how aggressive Alec's been with his ultis. He's taken every chance he can to, like, get a very aggressive shuffle and just taken it. Like, he's gotten one on Sarv mid lane earlier. He got another one there. I'm really excited to see what kind of shuffles he can get even into the deeper stages of the game.
Yeah, no, he's shown. I have no doubt he can continue to find those. I mean, even in the signups games I've played against Alec, his shuffles have been on point. So yeah,
Poppy's gonna be a little bit late to this fight. Oh,
uh-oh, they're looking to see if they can pick off Nico again, but Bean might be a little too deep,
oh, Bean goes down.
and they should be able to just run Sarv down here. And it's just getting so disjointed on the side of One Thief. I'm not sure what Bean was doing there. He went way too early, and yeah, that's just, you're gonna have to back off, and that's a drag and 2 kills for for QC, and really good job just punishing Bean. I just think he kind of lost track of where his follow-up was, and I mean, gets turned on, and as soon as Drakkar picks up the Rel body, there is not anything the Starvers can do there.
Look, I don't want to flame the rune a little bit, but I think if he has aftershock there, just getting that extra mitigation, like, I think he can live long enough for the rest of the team to kind of at least try to follow up, because Sarv was there.
Maybe, but respectfully, he was so damn deep. Like, I don't know. I think that's too deep. I think if your Smolder's not in range, even if Syndra is, I think if your Smolder's not in range, you're not playing these fights out correctly. If you're One Thief, I think you just need to take a deep breath right now. Try to reassess your lane assignments, reassess what you're doing as far as your team fights, and you can always rely on the scaling, but I mean, we went from a pretty comfortable One Thief gold lead to now a 2.5K or 2K gold lead for the side of Qualmless Chillers within like 4 minutes. So just a really decisive kind of attack back by QC, and Deathless Sivir right now, Deathless Poppy. Gonna see if they can kind of hold on to this, or if they'll also end up getting prone to a little bit of a throw like we saw from One Thief.
Look, both teams have been thrown in waves. I'm figuring that Qualmless Chillers are going to throw back soon, and One Thief is going to somehow get Otacon here. I don't know how, but I mean, Drakkar's on 2 items, so Drakkar is going to be really getting strong in these fights.
I mean, definitely. And Azir is 3-1-2, really, really comfortable. I will say one thing: he opted for the Sork shoes as opposed to the Merc Shreds, so I think Syndra can still look for a lot of work in that 1v1, but hasn't really been able to find it, and the pressure that Jakar is putting out and that Nico are putting out on the map is preventing Sarvers from ever kind of playing up and getting that 1v1. And if you just end up in team fight situations, I don't think the Azir is ever too concerned. Azir is also a
one thing
champion that can
the one
absolutely
thing that
shred
Qualmless Chillers have to
Otacon.
be scared about with like kind of starting this is they don't have Poppy TP right now. Like
Okay,
if
yeah,
Lauren
yeah.
can get
Good
into
call.
fog,
There's no
Oh,
Poppy
Jakar got
TP.
stunned?
That's a huge stun onto Jakar. That's going to be a massive chunk. He isn't able to actually get the ult off though. But you
But I
chunk
think-
him out, and perhaps
I
you
think
just
if
turn
you
on the
want to,
objective.
You just take this.
Yeah, Sarvers wasn't quite able to get into range to actually finish off Jakar with the unleashed power, but you see the strength right there of the comp, and you know,
Oh, this could
Jakar's
be-
build is very
Oh, nice
squishy.
ult
That's a
from Bean!
massive play by Bean, and that's I'm, you know, maybe they get loose.
the W
The
got
whole
messed up
team
a
is
little bit.
coming.
This should be a kill on the Lucian. Oh,
There's
and the
Jonah.
flash
That's a
burn.
kill onto him. And the
Oh.
flash, yeah.
That
You know,
flash
as
being
Nico, I
burned
think you
again,
need to
that's-
save your flash there. As a champ, it's one of those champs where I think you just die and you save your flash for the aggressive play that will come up next. But I'm not sure what happened there. You know, so what kind of happened is Qualmless Chillers did not fully control the vision of that area. They did not locate the ward that One Thief had directly on the Otacon. So therefore, One Thief had full vision. They knew what the health was. They knew where Jakar was positioned. And, I mean, Syndra just walked up and found the stun, found the chunk. And, you know, with Jakar's build, he does a lot of damage, but it's not like the bruisery Viego. He doesn't even have boots, like completed mercs or anything. So if Syndra's able to actually start out the fight by hitting Jakar, you know, he is vulnerable to getting bursted down, as you kind of saw right there.
I mean, I don't know the Viego build too much. Like, I think the next thing is what's that item called? Immortal Shield
I
Bow?
think he's going. I think he's going shield bow right now. And I'm not saying the Viego build is bad by any means. I think he's building like the preferred
It's the
Viego
standard
build.
build.
It's just the nature of the champion though. He is so squishy when you go this way, and we've seen when the fight starts with Qualmless Chillers controlling the engage, finding a shuffle, finding a Nico ult, then it looks good for Viego. But if the fight is starting with a coordinated engage by One Thief, I think it becomes a lot harder for them to play out.
I mean, it's all
So Alec does have the spell shield now. He's opted for the Banshee's Veil. He's going to be completing that soon, but he does have
wait, this could
spell
be a
shield, which
catch
does
on
help a
Nico.
little bit. Oh, that damage is just massive. And you're seeing the power of the Syndra burst build. He actually went for the Storm Surge second instead of the Shadow Flame. And I mean, you're just seeing the raw burst that anytime he hits a combo against pretty much anyone but Poppy, I mean, that's the majority of their health bar.
back check. Got
Yes, stack check. 205.
19
Oh,
more. Depending
Smolder
on how the
is
fight goes, he could
so-
even
so
hit it
close.
mid-fight.
All right, so what I'm watching here, you have flashes on, you don't have flash on Dave, and you do have flash on Alec. He's positioning on the side to look for a big shuffle here. If he can get an initial engage onto the Smolder and set up for Jakar, I
He's
think
looking
that's how
for
you
it.
play this out.
Oh, wow.
That's great positioning by Camazotz there to block.
Oh, great counter engage by Beam, but I think the front line's just going to die. Oh, no. The
Sarv's
shuffle
on the
only hits
side.
Sarv. Wow, and this should be a cleanup.
You see it,
from One
the
Thief.
burst.
Wow.
Yeah, I think when you don't find that very initial engage, like if you don't get that dream engage from Alec, it's just, the plays are just so hard to find. And you know what, Camazotz did a really nice job there was he just stood on top of Dave. So the moment Alec blast coned over, he can't dash through Ornn. I mean, he just gets stuffed right there. And yeah, I mean that's just a 4 for 1, excuse me, or 5 for 1
5 for
actually,
1.
ace for 1, 5 for 1.
And Nash,
And they're going to
and
get
Dragon.
Baron. The game is kind of ping-ponging back and forth right now, but I think Baron is the first true control either team's going to take. And yeah, I mean, Jakar is running, but I don't think he gets... Yeah, there's no way he gets there in time, and that's just
Oh, this is
really,
a
really
really
big
late
for the side of
TP.
One Thief. Yeah, it is a little bit of a late TP. So now you have Baron. We saw last game the power of Smolder Siege. Syndra Siege is also good. They're probably going to be able to do a lot of work while they have this Baron available. If you're the side of Qualmless Chillers, I think the game plan stays the same. You look to find a punish. You see if you can catch someone out. You see if you can find some sort of an Azir shuffle. But, Syndra still has flash, didn't even use it last fight. Dave's flash is almost back up. Nefiri has flash. I think it's going to be really difficult to actually find the carries here.
I mean, I think the condition that they're honestly just gonna wait for is until Nico has flashback and just have Nico try and like Rocket Bell
Yeah.
are in. I think
That's a good point. Yeah, we saw, Nico used that flash kind of unfortunately
under the
earlier,
tower.
then didn't have it for the aggressive play. I'm not sure if it turns the fight there, but if Nico has flash R, the fight definitely looks different. And if Nico can be the initial engage, it makes Alex's life a whole lot easier. I mean, Azir can be engaged, but if he's going in first,
Oh
it's
wait,
just
this could be
difficult.
the angle. 'Cause they don't know Jakar's here too.
Good job by Bean to spot him out, but I mean, Alex just having trouble right now. Without flash, he's kind of getting stuffed.
Oh, they could start the resets here off Rel.
Okay, Bean goes. Oh my god, the
Oh!
smolder damage.
But Jonah goes
Wait,
a
watch
little bit
Jakar
too
though.
deep. Oh, and he moves.
Oh, he dodges the whole Syndra ult. That's huge.
Although I don't think Jakar can go back in.
No, there's a little too much damage still from Dave. Completely full health there. But, I mean, nice job by Qualmless. You got a 2-for-1 right now. That's going to slow down the Baron push a little bit. You do also get the flash off of Dave, so he won't have flash again. Syndra critically still does have flash and is almost to the Rabadons.
I do think there is merit, like a lot of positives to that fight, especially for Jakar. He finishes shield bow. He got a
Bilbo, yeah.
watch Last Whisper. Like he should be able to start shredding people way easier now.
Oh, you're just seeing the burn, man. Like the smolder burn is getting pretty disgusting already. I mean, he's only on 3 items. Is building that probably. I think it's an Infinity Edge. He goes third here. Yeah, I don't know. I think if you can find the shuffle, you're never out of it. If you can set up for Jakar, you're never out of it. But it's gonna be so hard to kill both Syndra and Smolder in the same fight as long as they're not like positioning directly on top of one another.
Syndra finally has decap now. Just Syndra's gonna be shredding, and Smolder
mean,
has a
yeah.
Seekers. I just
Yeah,
FF. It's over.
Seekers. I mean, that's just that tells me he's recognizing if you can't kill me, there's which is true. If you can't kill him, there's no way you can actually win a fight. I guess he feels like he can Seekers the Azir shuffle maybe, or he can Seekers a Nico ultimate. We'll have
Just
to see
Seekers
what kind of
anything.
value he gets out of it, but yeah, that's scary. And with Syndra having the Ornn upgraded death cap, the Syndra combo
Ooh,
is
they're
pretty
gonna
much
be
a kill onto
looking-
anyone.
Well, they got Jakar, but there's also the Azir behind too.
Yeah, Azir's just kind of behind them here. They're
Wait, this could be the nature. Oh, nice counter by Bean.
it's just, yeah, nice counter by Bean. Your card's just really not allowed to go in. This is kind of an awkward fight, but ultimately they're able to just kill.
Oh, he's going for the R.
but
he
there's
did
no
it
one
all by
there.
himself.
Oh, he found the shuffle on to Dave that time, but a little bit of miscommunication there. Jakar had fully left the fight, and Sivert was not close enough to follow up.
Oh wait, everyone left Bean. Oh wait, or did they?
Around, but oh, is it a
Guess I
bait?
learned-
Has to flash out, and now you don't have flash on the Viego there. I mean, I get why he's going for that. You're kind of forced to make the desperate play at this point, but doesn't have enough damage to kill Bean before the reinforcements arrive. And now I don't know how you can test this drag without your flash, and that's just going to be a dead Poppy. Oh, maybe.
Oh no, Poppy's that's a flash away. I think the Poppy just goes down. Nice little block, but I mean, even if they get out here, they're still gonna lose the drag. Wait, but Alec is sending a TP down here. Poppy has TP too. Maybe something frisky can happen.
That's the fight that they're calling their shot. It's never going to get easier than it is right now. They're trying to see
Just
what
there's
they
no
can do
shuffle.
here.
I think they're gonna let the drag goes down, and maybe they can find something after.
Camazotz is your target. He's so tanky.
Maybe. No, it's just gonna be a click out fight. Wait, he might.
Oh my god,
burn.
that's burn. That's oh my god.
Oh wait, maybe the
close.
ult. No.
Oh man, the Smolder is looking scary. I mean, Dave back-to-back pretty insane Smolder games. The whole side of One Thief playing really, really well right now. You have Baron coming up in 30. Perhaps Jakar could look for some sort of a Baron steal. Um,
There's not much. I don't really know what the angle here from QC to like get anything going here is.
It's just
hard.
difficult because Sivir is a hard scaling AD carry, so normally you'd say let's get items on Sivir, but unfortunately I think Sivir is just so outranged by both Smolder and Syndra that it's going to be hard for Sivir to really do anything this game, even if they're able to get to some of those later item breakpoints.
I mean, they're trying to like go into LDR, to try and help burst down the Fury, burst down the Ornn, but I just think it might be too late. I think they can just go and get Nash and then just kind of sprint it down mid.
Yeah, so I mean, Jakar can definitely look for a steal here, but I mean, Sarverus just finds the one shot on to Nico. And without the Nico, it's just so hard to ever find the fight.
Oh, the push got out. They're looking
It's
at Bean
kind of
here.
a disjointed fight,
Poppy's kind of doing their own thing.
but I mean, Poppy did a lot of work there, but it's not enough.
Wait, maybe
and
Alec can get in here with the shuffle.
he's
Yeah,
looking
maybe they have
for
to
it.
try for the fight after, but Jakar isn't in.
Yeah.
He's just getting marked by Kamazots and he got soloed.
Yeah, and that's Baron. That's an ace, and you do have Nico coming up shortly, but that very well
I think
might
that's
be the game.
I
if
don't
at
think Nico
least
can do
an
anything
inhibitor.
here.
Yeah, and Nico with no flash, it's going to be hard to even try to clear the wave with the Baron buff.
I mean, there were shenanigans last game. You never know.
Yeah, you've
Poppy's
got
coming
8
up.
seconds on Poppy,
Nah, Nico can't
taking-
kill the wave.
taking the turret so fast.
Yeah, it's gonna be a win for Qualmless Schiller and for One Thief.
Oh, there's the ult.
No, he just gets
But-
one bang.
You see the damage right there, and yeah, I mean, it was kind of an interesting decision for Qualmless Chiller to like sub out 4 players mid-series. I mean, I'd say the game they had their moments. I thought Drakkar and Alec especially found some really good plays, but ultimately the Smolder just kind of didn't seem to have an answer both games, and I thought Kamazots outside of his game 1 played really good Ornn games. Bean had just everyone played really, really well on the side of One Thief that last game. So respect to both teams. Thought both teams played well, but ultimately I think One Thief just really had a good game plan once they put Dave on that Smolder with that scaling pick, and they kind of just played around it well.
We want to get
I
someone
don't
in
know.
here for a little interview.
Yeah, did you want to give a game 3 MVP real quick?
Like my bias could be showing. Like I really liked how Bean kind of played the game, even though he did have that one throw. But Dave did a lot too. I'm gonna get Bean here. I want to talk to Bean.
Okay.
Bean, move yourself in here. Or one of the mods on whoever. Get. I don't got perms.
Oh no.
Hey,
Bean.
what up, Bean? You can talk your
What's
smack over
up?
to. Go talk your smack really quick to Mason Jar.
Yeah, this Mason guy, he's a doubter. I think he should be ashamed. I think you should be ashamed too.
I changed my
For
mind
doubting
before the
that.
series. I changed my
Yeah,
mind before the series.
you know what? I don't care what you.
You
what
also
have to say.
also changed your mind as soon as you saw Bean's Runes game 3.
Yeah, why'd you
Let's
go
not
with
be-
Guardian?
Not be fake.
I took it completely by accident.
Oh, nice.
It actually worked out though, because that first kill that we got bot lane, the Guardian saved Dave's life, like
Ooh.
unironically. So
So,
Hmm.
being question for you, what's your initial reaction after the series, and I guess also like, what do you think changed between game 1 and 2 that allowed y'all to kind of respond so much stronger in the latter 2 games?
we locked in. It's
That's
really,
Oh, so you were trolling the
simple.
first game.
yeah, we were just running it. We were being a little silly, is really what was going on. We were just playing no. I don't really know what happened. We changed our draft. Said we wanted to play around the fact that they're blinding Braum, so we're gonna lock in Zillion. Do whatever we did. Just adjust our draft slightly. I mean that's all really. Nothing particularly
Okay.
insane.
Did you have any
What,
thoughts of them changing their roster after like the third game? Did that change anything, or
I mean, yeah, we had to shift our bands around a lot, and we were kind of clueless on how the game would look because people had been kind of moved around and you don't know how strong each player was. And obviously, we played against like the one roster the first game, so we had an idea. And then the second game, kind of like you saw, we made the comeback. So
Very nice.
Very nice.
yeah,
What did you think about the strategy of QC there to kind of really heavily target Dave as opposed to, maybe trying to take Cerberus off him, maybe one of his most comfortable picks that he doesn't usually get.
I think it's kind of it. I think it may have worked the first game, but after that we kind of just quickly adapted to that. I mean, Dave has a very expensive pool. He's a good player. I don't think it's worth giving everybody else their comforts in order to try to remove one player. Dave is not our sole carry. And so I think there's a lot more that people have to worry about than exclusively Dave's champion pool.
Yeah, but I didn't.
I will mention
Oh, what do you mention?
that game 2 end of the game, I think I about almost lost my mind when we almost threw right
Okay,
at that
okay, okay.
Nexus.
If like everyone died and you didn't end the game there, but you still ended the game later, would you have been tilted for game 3?
No, I don't think so.
You were
But
just only
my
losing your
peers
mind in that moment.
confirmed I yelled at them,
You're,
particularly Ben and Jonah.
you're like, hey, idiots, hit the Nexus.
I said, y'all, nothing in this game tilts me more than not ending the game.
Okay, I've got two
Yeah.
questions for you.
Yeah, what's up?
Well, this first kind of one-parter, but one, what would you say about Kamazotz and his performance? And two,
I
will
like
we be seeing
Kamazotz a lot.
Ornn every single game if teams are gonna let him have it?
Hey, if people are gonna let him have it, he's gonna be playing it. That boy's a great Ornn. I mean, we've been practicing, and I think Cam just like I won't lie, like he has had a hard time in some of the lanes, but then today, he locked in and he
Yeah, I
showed
thought
up.
he
I mean,
played
I
it
think
really well.
he played against someone who's at least said to be a really strong player, and he held up. And he was just really good. He played into hard matchups. Like, it's really hard to play Ornn into Yasuo Braum, into Braum. Like, he played incredibly well. I think if he didn't get any MVPs today, I will be very disappointed in y'all.
I gave it to Jonah in game 2. I don't know about Guru. I liked Jonah a lot in game 2. And we didn't make it game 3.
I shouted out Kamazotz, but I did ultimately think it
Yeah,
Jonah had a good
Jonah.
performance.
Yeah, I like Jonah in game 2.
That's all right. You know
Okay,
what? Cam is my MVP.
We didn't
So.
give
that's
anyone
all
for
that
game 3
matters.
though.
To me, I'm thinking.
It's either Dave or you. Which one would you pick?
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, is it you or Dave? Dean?
You can't be making me do that.
True,
You know what?
I
You know what?
just
Me
need a-
because Dave locked in Smolder and Smolder sleeper.
true.
So
All
you're a
right, it's
little
being game
narcissist.
3. All right,
I
I have
know.
a final
Right?
question. Final question for you, Bean. It's a very important one.
What's up?
What do you have to say to Dean and Mason Jones?
Mason Jones.
Mason Jar,
Mason-
whatever the hell it is,
Mason Jones.
for putting
They're
you
married.
All
so
the way
at
at
the
7.
bottom of your
Oh,
their
low.
power rankings.
I
What
had
do
you
you
guys
have
at
to
4.
say?
I had you guys at 4 in my
We're
personal
up
rankings.
again. Yeah, saying we're all the way up against Qualmless chillers. You know, they thought we were totally cooked. Dean's like, oh, I fear for the people who have to go against these people round 1. All I gotta say is I gotta be nice. In your face, Dean.
Ooh.
That's all I gotta say.
There you go. Well,
It's okay. It's awesome though. I do enjoy the
congrats,
fact that we were rated low and we proved them wrong.
hey,
Makes me happy.
all that matters is if you believe in yourself, and clearly your team has an identity, a strategy.
Sir.
You played really well. I'm excited to see more. Congratulations on a great first
Okay.
week, great first win, and yeah, just look forward to seeing more out of you.
Some banger series. Don't get me wrong, QC played like fantastic. That first game was really scary for us. Like they kind of just ran us out.
Yeah, I thought they
yeah.
suffocated you guys game 1. To be honest,
they
like they
did.
played an extremely good game 1.
It was a little scary, but we pulled through. Awesome games, everybody.
Oh, those were fire games.
Disappointed.
be back tomorrow
back,
at some
yes.
point. I don't know how the stream
Yeah,
setup's
so
gonna be tomorrow. It's gonna be whack.
tomorrow there's going to be 2 games going on. I think there's been discussion of even both getting streamed. Without a doubt, though, one series will be getting streamed tomorrow. So everybody, please tune in at same time as today, 8 Eastern, for either Metabusters versus New York Nutbusters, which is PB's team, or Big Bananas versus Albert Infernos. And if you saw the season discussion chat, Albert's Inferno's team has a lot of aura right now with the photos they're posting. So either way, both series would be hype. And we'll hope you all be back tomorrow to watch.
It'll be fun to see.
All right, turn off the stream. GG's, y'all.